Charge your phone. Wake up. Why won't you wake up?
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
क्या इस सीजन खत्म होगा सेंसे का ट्रॉफी कस? जॉनथन भी है तैयार. वीक 2 में गॉडलाइक करेगी प्रहार. क्या जेनेसिस ई स्पोर्ट्स की हंटिंग वीक 2 में भी रहेगी बरकरार? इस बैटलग्राउंड के जंगल में एप्स करेंगे सबसे ज्यादा शोर. Watch BGMS Season 4 live on Jio Hotstar, Star Sports and Nodwin Gaming's YouTube channel daily from 5 p.m. onward.
It's the week 2, day 5 in the BGMS Season 4, and I'm going to be your host, Necro, and John alongside with me on the panel. It's a bit of a different face, this time on the English panel. Fixes, first of all, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel to be back on the English panel?
It was a long travel, to be honest, from one studio to the other, but here I am, completely ecstatic because today we have our second week of Impact Players. That means more masala, more fun.
Exactly. That means we might just see the action amped up once again. I mean, the previous week was a prime example of how the action really amped up. We saw the teams actually going for the bounty points as well, and we did see them pull off quite the aggressive shenanigans. But let's speak about what exactly happened yesterday. And the day pretty much kicked off with Admino absolutely manhandling the players of Los Hermanos, and this is another one of those concerns, because Los Hermanos in the week 1 were doing so good, but the moment they shifted on towards the week 2, concerns are now there for them.
Yeah, it's been those experimenting runs from certain teams, and Los Hermanos one of the bigger examples because, like you said, initial week we saw them being the bounty hunters. They had been all out aggressive, but suddenly it feels like they have lost steam, so they need to regain that, and what better way than come back in the Impact week.
Yeah, the main problem is it feels like even their mechanical skills are now lost, because getting manhandled like that by an isolated player in a combat, it's unacceptable, especially for a team like Los Hermanos, who was not losing any 4-on-4 fights.
Right.
But recently, we're also seeing a massive development from this out of Phoenix Esports. They're able to win those fights. They're showcasing some signs of improvements. But Ash, he's still lacking in that conversion department, and that's a major concern. And since we're speaking so much about what happened yesterday, let's have a look at this recap itself. The game got started with a lot of question marks, but the moment we saw the game when boot up on the screen, it was Admino manhandling the boys of MyG Los Hermanos. The moment we saw that drop clash for the first time, we thought MyG Los Hermanos should have this fight easy peasy, but no, Admino, he handed them a reality check.
He certainly did, and the first game was absolutely electric for a point where Admino, he was peeling himself, and then we saw 8-Bit taking on Phoenix, and 8-Bit did manage to win that fight, especially considering how 8-Bit have been struggling lately. But towards the end, it was 4TR and K9 locking horns in that final circle, out of which 4TR did get the chicken dinner.
Still, it was quite close to comfort, but then we moved on towards the map of Miramar, where we saw Genesis Esports against the players of Phoenix, and even Reckoning Esports were in that fray. For Genesis Esports, they easily were able to eliminate that was anyone that's standing in front of them, but later on, problems got a bit too much when they got overwhelmed by the presence of the opponents. Victor Sumus, in the end, were locked in a fight against True Rippers, but Victor Sumus, having the man advantage and always delivering that finishing blow, got the chicken dinner.
And that was something really out of the blue there. Victoria Summers gaining their form back, their flow did want to continue, but the circumstances really did not help them engaged in those early fights, and Cyrex did manage to come out swinging with 3 finishes. Then we saw Medal taking on the likes of God's Rain, where they had a good time against them. Even for Refis, did manage to finish off OG. Levi really played well in that one, but towards the end, it was NoNx Viper. He had some amazing finishes, and True Rippers did secure the chicken dinner.
Exactly, a massive moment for the boys of True Rippers, and recently we're seeing them fire on all cylinders and get those massive games under the bag. But the moment we moved on towards the last game, we saw NINZA get absolutely shredded to pieces. True Rippers' domination once again continued as they took a fight against the players of Revenant X Park. And Revenant X Park, they straight up just walked into the open arms of True Rippers.
Yeah, that was quite concerning there, to be honest, but it was GDR towards the end. Did manage to get a chicken in. Victoria Summers securing a chicken, quite some podium finishes. They really did have a great day.
Of course, yesterday's day was quite a massive banger for Victoria Summers, but as we look at the leaderboards after yesterday's day, this is what the top 4 looks like. Genesis Esports currently at the top with a lot of points, of course, crossing that 300 points barrier. We've also got OG on the 2nd spot, Soul on the 3rd, Hero Extreme Godlike on the 4th.
Yeah, certainly. But when you look at the overall standings, this is where we would anticipate some teams climbing. Look at God's Raid. They're at 287, just 3 shy of Hero Extreme Godlike. 8-Bit, they really have recovered, especially considering they were in such a precarious spot. And for Global Esports, yeah, today is going to be an interesting day because lately they haven't been firing on all cylinders. You never know. The impact player Masala might really change things up.
Of course, and it should change things up, right? Especially for the teams on the last page. The way I see it, now the only way they can make a massive comeback in the top 4 is if they directly take a catapult, maybe from the bottom page to the top 4 itself. And the only time that can happen is if they start taking advantage of the bonus cards itself. If they do not take the advantage of the power play, if they do not take the advantage of the bounty system, and if they do not take the advantage of the impact player system itself, I highly doubt the comeback's possible from the last page.
I mean, still time is there. But like you said, this week is very crucial because from next week onwards, things are going to be taking a tipsy-turvy turn. We'll have to say goodbye to certain players, certain teams. So everybody needs to really buckle up. But we have been talking about the impact player for the newer viewers. Once again, an announcement. Every team gets to choose one impact player. Throughout the course of the game, every single finish that the impact player gets, it will be doubled. So imagine even in the power play, that gets quadrupled. So the highest an impact player can earn if he clutches a squad in a power play, and if that squad has a bounty on them, he's going to get 26 points.
That is insane.
From
26
one fight.
points. And even if the team does not really have the bounty on top of them, that's still going to be 16 points right there, which is absolutely insane. And right then after that, even if the team does get eliminated, 16 points at the start of the day, what else do you want, right? That's pretty much a banger of a start. And since we were speaking so much about the Impact player itself, let's have a look at the League Stage Week 2 Impact players. Oh, Levi from FS Esports. You've also got Metal Esports picking up Venom. You've got Flock from Reckoning Esports. Evil as well from IG Los Hermanos. Henry from Team Aryan. Hydra from True Rippers, which makes a lot of sense. And you've also got Dragon OP from Meta NINZA. WizGod this time from Orangutan. Interesting choice.
Yeah, of course, because they could not go with AKOP, so WizGod being the second best choice that they have. I mean, to be honest, even if Athanki and Aru had it, would not have still mattered. All the players are really playing well. But really surprised that Hydra has come up, because when you look at the stats, it was Kyo Lamau who's got the highest finishes for True Rippers. And Mafia, considering his recent gain in form, I think that's a good choice. But looking at this, Slug being the impact player for K9. Last time we saw Beast. Slug still, I feel like, is a better option. I would have loved to see Legit, but since they could not choose Legit, they've gone with Goblin. But for Hero Extreme Godlike and their fans, they would be quite pleased. Admino.
Finally, Admino. This man is back at the rightful spot where he should be. And now Admino might just be able to quadruple his elimination points. Just like yesterday, he started things off at IG Los Hermanos. Imagine if he was the impact player yesterday, those amount of points would have just instantly catapulted maybe Hero Extreme Godlike on the first spot. That's how much of a game changer that would have been. But now, really speaking about the teams on the latter half of the board, because this is something that is quite concerning, and we know this sort of an impact player system is sort of much more helpful for those teams on the last page. I'm speaking of Meta NINZA. Yes, I know this team likes to play it extremely defensive and passive, but at this point in time, maybe amping up the aggression is something that can only save the sinking boat. That's what I think.
Yeah, that certainly could, because when you talk about impact players, let's take a look also at the players that performed last week, who were the impact players of their respective teams. So Trace Squad and Hunters, it was completely their week, to be honest. And for Legit, Aimbot, they really stepped up. AKOP being an usual suspect. Justin really played well. Jonathan, I think, did fairly well considering 18, not too shabby. Galan really stepped up, being one of the veteran players coming in there. Meta NINZA's having Reaper. We did see some nice games coming out of Noddy, out of which one was a chicken dinner clutch. Completely stole it out of iQOO Soul. But as we move on, alright, so Lavish was a little bit off. Somraj, we expected big plays from him. Kyoloma wasn't that great either. Even same goes for Clutch God.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, for Mad Kings at this point, it feels like they're way too far back in the overall standings. We do see those bursts of good performances here and there, but once again, consistency is something that's what they need. And generally speaking, look, I've been saying this like a broken record. There are so many things that can get you the consistency, especially the bonus cards itself. The moment you drop down for a squad fight, even if you get 3 eliminations, that's still 6 points right there. And I think even if after that, if you get eliminated, that's completely fine. 6 points per game, that's still a decent average that you can hold on to.
Are you talking about the bottom teams? Because I feel like they would at least need 10 to 12 points.
I'm talking about since the start, if they would have done this. Things would have been much better. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. You guys do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more action.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Radar, the Wicked Ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Within a few moments, the first game of the day will be booting up on the screen with Impact Player System live inside of the action. Things are definitely going to be quite fired up in the first game itself. And Fixes, since you're here for the first time in the BGMS Season 4 on the English panel, I would like to know your prediction for the Game 1, since we've got Group B and C who will be playing the first game.
You know Group B is playing, right? You know the team that I'm going to go with has to be OG, Orangutan, hands down. I feel like they did not capitalize enough in the previous weekend. That was the most disappointing phase that we had from OG. All the players were unwell. This time they are looking completely ready, going to dominate. Yeah,
look, I really would want to go for a team at the top, but since there are so many struggling teams and they probably do need my good luck, I'm going to go with someone at the bottom. I'm going to go with Phoenix Esports. I believe Ash and the boys this time around, Golden, Juthin, they've got this in the bag. But generally speaking, Fixes, I still feel like Ash needs to contribute a little bit more. Being an IGL does not give you the excuse of not performing or not going for the elimination point.
Yeah, of course, completely agree when you look at Ash's stats so far, because from their team, it's just been goated, right? You would also want the other players, Juthin, to step up, even Archit, even Owen, as a matter of fact, hasn't been getting a lot of games. And for Phoenix Esports, that's where not the problem ends, right? They've got so much to recover, and I really hope they start on a good note.
Exactly, and I really hope the Impact player as well is able to have a lot of impact inside of the game as we head on towards the first game, and the plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from Sanhok military base towards the opposite side, which will be Severny. And this plane fly path, it's going to be quite forgiving for the teams.
It certainly will be. But you know what? I do not like forgiving flight paths. I want those treacherous ones, those dirty ones, completely throwing teams off, because that is when you would see teams engaging early on, because we've got the power play, we've got the impact players, we've got the bounty hunters also in the server. So highly anticipating some early fights. Let's see if anything happens or not.
And recently, even the week 2 has been extremely good for 8-Bit. We've seen a massive catapult in that performance too. 8-Bit out of nowhere, just swinging inside of the top 8. Now looking extremely solid in that spot as well. And honestly speaking, Raiden was doing a fine job in IGLing the boys. But yeah, now since Samraj is back, as he mentioned too, he wants to experiment in new things. He wants to know exactly what the players have got in their minds as well.
Yeah, of course, because for Somraj, the biggest task has to be how he gets the most out of Beast, one of the latest additions to the roster. And we've seen he's a raw talent. He has performed, he's got those frags to back it up. But as a team, how well can they gel up together? I think that is the biggest challenge for Somraj. This time also, if you're talking about the impact players, that's also changed. His power's still not the impact player there, and that might be a little concerning.
But generally speaking, I still think for 8-Bit it's not going to be that big of a dent, since we know there's still so many more games to go on 8-Bit. Their spot is quite solid in the top 8. They're looking pretty good. So I'm pretty sure for 8-Bit that's not going to be a major concern. But back towards the Beast conversation, right? And I'm pretty sure the only reason why Samraj is doing that, it's to get to know him a little bit better, right? Since the man's quite new on the block, he's quite new amongst the teammates as well. And Samraj just wants to get to know him better so that the synergy in the future can be good as well.
And he's the impact player for his team. So that really puts a lot of spotlight on him. And talking about 8-Bit, they're looking also okay. But there's been some news. TWOB, they will be playing with just 3 players because the 4th one could not report on time.
Oh no. Now that's a little bit concerning for TWOB since their performance was already pretty bad. And now that they're just playing with a 3-man squad with a massive handicap, I'm not exactly sure what to say here. For TWOB, things cannot be any worse than it already is.
I mean, we do have Puka, we do have Mark, who's the third I want to see, and who missed out. That definitely I would love to see. But for what things are worth, we've got Mad Kings quickly rotating around towards the northwestern Georgie, though they would prefer the southwestern Georgie, but they've got 4TR right in front of them. Shadow takes a dig at INF God. Has managed to take a couple of shots, but nothing seemingly connecting so far.
Yeah, Shadow just going for the shots to pretty much suppress the opponents. And yesterday we saw a major mistake between Shadow and Clutch God. One of the players was knocked out, and the other one went to save him, and even he got knocked out himself. And that was a major mistake made by the players of Mad Kings. Then later on, all the pressure was on the remaining two shoulders, and it was quite impossible to carry that game. But look at 4TR, quite aggressive, this time making the pounce. And once again, Shadow and Clutch God messing up big time. They're not able to do anything against the force of 4TR. And this time, I love this aggressive approach from them.
And this is what numbers do right. Completely overwhelming them, despite Z-God getting knocked down, being the tank for his team. It was the other three, especially Pain is Live, who delivered 2 quick blows. And there you have it, 4TR official off to another great start.
Blunder, massive blunder. And it's always Clutch God and Shadow. It's always them.
Oh, look at this.
They get taken down in pairs. They like to play together. And you've got K9 Esports now around the fray. They want a third party this. Want to be quick with the trigger. But unfortunately for K9 Esports, it's going to be a little bit tough to try and execute this fight. We've got the players of 4TR get back inside of the vehicle, and they're trying to make the great escape as well. But Ninja Boy, he finds the knock, and that's going to be the confirmation as well. 4TR getting chipped up, and now they're also on the run. They do not want to face the players of K9 Esports. K9's hungry. They're not doing too good in the overall standings. They're searching for the elimination points desperately, and they see a few in the front, and they think they're free too. 4TR still trying to make the run, trying to make the great escape, but still the man gets knocked out, and it's K9 Esports and their shenanigans. But in the end, the elimination points get stolen away by Mad King's Apollo.
No, it was Apollo. He got the knock, and he also did get the finish there. So for Mad Kings, despite those early losses, at least those 2 points collected. And if Apollo were an impact player, that would have been quadrupled. But putting everything aside, 4TR, Mad Kings, both of them are bleeding profusely, to be very honest. As even 4TR, bigger concerns because Z-God was the impact player, and he's there no more.
Rough luck for 4TR. At least the good spectrum is that they've got 4 points so far. If they manage to get 2 more eliminations in the power play, in my opinion, that's good. That's a really good performance. 8 points in one game, a decent average to have. And 4TR's performance recently has been pretty decent. Yeah, they do struggle to close things out, but it's a whole different story.
I really feel like 4TR and Mad Kings should see this through. It's still a 2-on-2. And if either of them play their cards right, get those couple of finishes in the power play itself, should certainly increase their tally up a little bit. If not really their desired number. But for Orangutan, seems like they're off for a quick rotation. Look at them already taking control of those hills around the junction point, northwestern side of Georgie. And now you've got another fight. It's Revenant X Park taking on Marcus Gaming around school. I didn't really see this happening.
Yeah, and Marcos Gaming, unfortunately for them, they've already dropped down at Superman. And the moment you blink at the entirety of Marcos Gaming, they will drop dead. Revenant X Park, solid stuff. 4 finish points already claimed. That's a way to kick things off.
And even Fierce has a finish for himself. That means he's going to get quadruple points just for that one finish. He's the impact player. They managed to get those finishes during the power play.
That's 10 points, right?
Yeah, things looking A-okay for Revenant X Park. Now again, quick announcement, Genesis, OG, iQOO, Soul, and Hero Extreme Godlike, all 4 of these teams, they have the bounty on their heads. So anytime, if you completely finish, if a team completely finishes all 4 of the players who have a bounty on them, you get those additional 10 points.
Which is, of course, something that should be taken advantage of. But a lot of these teams are not even going for that bounty hunt these days. Which is honestly questionable. Especially for the teams at the bottom. Especially for teams like Phoenix Esports, TWOB, NINZA. They should go for it. Because imagine the moment you manage to claim one bounty in the power play, that's double the points right there. And that will be massive catapults as well in the overall standings. But hold on to that thought. 8-bit almost locking horns with the players from NINZA in the front. But instantly back away if they realize it might just be one of the most tricky fights. And to go for that will be quite tricky as well.
It's a battle around the cluster, to be honest. 8-bit really eyeing for the Eye of the Storm position. Play around the center. They've got Phoenix around them. And a couple more. Even Revenant X-Spark not too far away. As Goten, he's been spotted out. Somraj needs to be a little extra careful there. Because iQOO Soul, they're around the water cities. And look at this. Viscott, the impact player for Orangutan, he's round the hood. And if iQOO Soul can spot them out, can take him down early, who knows? Even iQOO Soul can have a chance at the bounty of OG.
An important announcement. You guys can watch the BGMS 2025 with the multicam feature for the first time. Only on Geo Hotstar. You guys can watch Hero Extreme, Godlike, Genesis Esports, Orangutan, and Soul's POV. Which is absolutely insane if you think about it. Back towards the conversation, though. Back towards what's happening inside of the game. Soul finding one of the most important knocks in the game, and that's Aru down. OG, a bit of a rough way to start things off this time.
Yeah.
The IGL himself, he's wounded, knocked out, and soon probably going to be confirmed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In no man's land.
Oh, but Phoenix.
There's no respite of escape, but Goten, he seems to have stolen that one. So iQOO Soul, not really pleased with what has happened as Knuckle. He opens up on Viscott. Orangutan, things definitely aren't looking good because now Atanki and AKOP, they have to carry on with the helm. The revival on Viscott seems nigh impossible there. But for Genesis, they're on the hunt. Just around the volcano hills. Gravity scouring his vehicles around. Seems like they've got a whiff of NoNx.
OG, as all the players move in tandem. But unfortunately for them now, they're getting slowly and steadily cut down.
What was the idea, Necro?
Second man's down as well for OG. I'm not exactly sure. They seem pretty disconnected.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't really make any sense, right?
Or maybe OG just does not really care since they know they're already in a really good spot. That can also be one of those things.
No, that's not going to happen because I did have a quick word with them. They wanted that top spot. They want to get it back. They wanted to take down Genesis. They wanted to do a lot of things.
Oh, even
but
AKOP
like
goes
even
down.
AKOP, he's down. And he's out. The finish has been stolen by TraceCod. So a lot of knocks have been stolen by other teams around. So it's all a drama about who's got the central spot. Everybody's got a nice position for themselves. It's all about connecting that final bullet, getting that final finish.
Incredible stuff so far. 8-bit was the one to find that knock against AKOP, but unfortunately got stolen away by Trace. So it's complete fine now. 8-bit is still live with quite a decent spot to play with. God's Raid pushing up against the players of Soul. Problem's not done yet for Soul. They just keep on stacking up on top of each other. Knuckles in quite the awkward spot, right behind the compound wall. The man's position's not noticed yet, but the moment they know Knuckles behind this wall, utilities will be tossed out. The first one will be Molotov. But Knuckle cooking up an 8 himself, and if it does find the knock, that's going to be a great opener for Soul. But as we move on towards Genesis Esports, fighting the players at TWOB, this is where the real shenanigan begins, because Hunter gets knocked out first. And now for Genesis Esports, they're put in quite the awkward spot as well. For TWOB, though, they do not really have enough men to go for the fight against the players of Genesis Esports. And Genesis, they can easily overwhelm the likes of TWOB as the second man falls down as well. And now for TWOB, they've only got Pucar left standing. One man against the 3 men of Genesis Esports, and they can easily overwhelm that player of TWOB. It's not even a question. Pucar, though, still fighting back tooth and nail. But it does not matter, as Genesis Esports, they deliver the finishing blow.
And look at this fight still resuming over here where Neo and Knuckle, that little standoff we got to witness a couple of moments ago. No real outcome out of that one, but TWOB, it was a good thing they got a knock on Hunters, but a sad thing that they could not get that confirmation. So Hunters back on his legs, and now it's going to be interesting to see if we get to see Hunters going all out. Because let's not take anything away from Hunters, but don't you agree that lately his performance hasn't been that great considering the weekend that he had?
Of course. it definitely does feel like something's going wrong with him. And it's not just him. A lot of these players who were able to pop off on a different level have not been able to pop off that well recently. But hold on to that thought. God's Reign, problematic run, a mad dash towards school, and somehow God's Reign is still alive, especially Neo. Man was chipped up extremely low. You've still got Justin looking around the fray towards Rozhawk. Does hear a lot of those gunshots as well. He does want to go for the advantage as well, but does not find any line of sight yet. Meta Ninja Poco, the man's trapped in a corner, and soon he will be explored as well. You've got Archit as well, around that same vicinity. This is so awkward. The man's right next to him. The flashbang unfortunately blinds him as well. Archit, blind shots inside of the smoke. But the moment he peeks out, he will find that knock on to Poco. Great presence of mind, and that will be Phoenix Esports with 3 eliminations themselves.
Meta Ninja still going through those turbulent waters again.
Yeah.
Having no solution to all those problems that have been put on them. Losing out on those players. This is not the Meta Ninjas that we are accustomed to witness, Necro. And for Phoenix Esports, it's a rather great start. You did call them out. You did expect them to get the chicken dinner. So far, things are looking good.
Yeah, they've got a decent spot. 3 finishes as well in the bag. But yeah, back towards the Meta Ninjas, right? Yeah, I understand. Their strategy's always been about holding the center ground. But especially in a tournament like BGMS, maybe you need to switch things up a little bit because that strategy is not working out that well. So maybe switching things up, amping up the aggressive nature can definitely help you. But still, Meta Ninjas is struggling, and I do not exactly know what they need to do now.
I really feel like you said, right, just doubling down on it. They need to spread open their wings a little bit. In experiment, they've got the right fraggers, right? Just recently in a third-party land, we saw Reaper getting a lot of finishes to himself. Beard Baba was also in the top players list, and that has been missing, right? They need to get their flow back because we know Dragon, he's a great IGL. He's proven that in such a short span of time, and he's also an even better assaulter. So all these players are really going through rough times. I really hope they recover, but for 4TR, I think their days are numbered, at least in this one. They're already out of the game. As for Hero Extreme Godlike, still at the northeastern corner, they've got some nice tips to play around. The team that could be concerning for them could be K9, and Hero Extreme Godlike needs to watch their 6.
The Global Esports in this Max Center, they've got the solid spot to play with, and probably one of the best possible spots out there in prime condition. And once again, back towards that centric playstyle conversation, right? If a team likes to play from the center, they need to have a lot of analytical data. And especially inside of a tournament like BGMS, where things are changing over and over again, you cannot have that fresh analytical data every single time. That's why executing a zone-centric strategy, it's extremely rough. But hold on to that thought. Phoenix Esports, they once again kicks things off as Knuckle gets knocked out. A rough start for the players. 4th Soul, as even Joker falls down. It's not looking good for Soul at all. And somehow Phoenix Esports breaking through the shackles. Soul getting an absolute reality check. They wanted to pounce on top of the opportunity the moment they found out it's Phoenix Esports right next to him. But Soul, they got absolutely manhandled by Phoenix.
Yeah, and it was just not Phoenix Esports. We did see some assistance even coming out of Atanki. Did manage to take one of the players of iQOO down. The last surviving member of Orangutan as Goblin from iQOO. He needs to conjure something special. Surely has to, as now 8-bit, they set their eyes on the players of Meta Ninja. Reaper and Beard Baba, they've got a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. The stun grenade followed up by a sticky bomb. Enough to put Reaper down, and so does Beard Baba. Gets dealt with. And it's going to be none other than the man himself, S-Power.
Meta Ninja, once again, another game down the drain. 0 points. That's another game wasted right there. Global Esports in prime condition, in prime spot against the remaining 2 men of Mad Kings, Apollo and Sam 999. Both the players with a lot of experience, and of course they can pack a lot of punch as well. But when you've got 4 players of Global Esports in front of you, I highly doubt it's going to be possible. And we all know Global Esports' defense has been impenetrable, especially in compound fights. It's really tough to take them down. They know how to box up well.
For Global Esports, consistency has been an issue, right? Their games where they go bonkers. Even in the previous week, we saw Spray God really making some miraculous plays in Miramar, those individual clutches. And yeah, sure, he's feeling himself. But the problem is in certain games. So Global Esports, Need to find that string of consistency. Still not too shabby though.
Yeah,
at the 9th position, 231 points. Chicken dinner. You never know. They could really scale it up. Maybe try to enter inside the top 5 by the end of the evening. But right now, the instant challenge right next to them has to be in the form of Mad Kings. We're off to a decent start, but still are 2 men down.
8-bit. Even there around that Rozhok Hill. God's Reign. They're going to try to reposition themselves too. And 8-bit, with all the players once again grouping up. And K9 Esports up north. This is going to be interesting. Everyone's just waiting for the next zone to pop up so they can know exactly how to play the upcoming game. And the zone's once again going to center on towards the players of Mad Kings and Global Esports. And that is the only compound available inside of the circle as well. The second one's NoNx's, but it's all the way back in the edge, and I highly doubt it's going to be helpful. Especially knowing the fact that now breaching in the open ground is going to be even tougher, since there will be crossfires all across the place. It just gets even worse. Hero Extreme Godlike is going to look to breach in from the top right corner. There's K9 Esports they need to deal with. There's also Genesis Esports who will try to throw a spanner in the works. Even things are quite dicey on that side. But God's Reign for them, breaking through these shackles is going to be extremely difficult. They're put in quite a dicey spot. And honestly, this zone is just awkward to play with.
Yeah, but you know, again, right, for God's Reign, things are pretty safe. They just are opportunistic hounds. They're waiting for 2 teams to pick a fight. Maybe 8-bit might expose themselves a little bit. Equinox too much in the open, but Justin has to be a little extra careful there. Might get shot from the back lines, or maybe the front lines instead. As iQOO, they have them spotted. Even Revenant X-Park, they have him in the crosshairs. Justin, not a lot of options remaining, but even worse for Team 8-bit as they hit Mayday, reaching really close to the players of Phoenix as they set their smokes up. And it's going to be interesting as to how they can really conjure this fight.
8-bit's really exposed, but they've tossed out a lot of smokes. And those smokes are definitely helping him. There's also Athink in the sidelines that can definitely play the spoilers. But Genesis Esports Hunter somehow gets knocked out by fall damage. And the man also gets instantly eliminated. Not exactly sure what happened there, but that was a big mishap. But 8-bit, they really do want to take this fight against the players of Phoenix Esports and also come out on top doing so. Phoenix Esports, they have been playing the defense pretty well. Thwarting off team like Seoul is not an easy job, but they've done it with the help of Athinki from the sideline, and Athinki still lies around that same fray. He can definitely possess a massive threat, but the moment the players move up, things are now switched up towards Hero Extreme Godlike as Punk, he guns down another man. And somehow Hero Extreme Godlike still alive with a chance to actually win this fight and convert this against the players of NoNx. Punk whiffing a lot of shots, but the same thing can also be said for the man in the front. And finally, that one crucial shot hits, and Punk saves the day for Hero Extreme Godlike, but he's the only man alive. He can't go far.
Yeah, he's not out of the woods yet, because look at this. Revenant X-Park, especially Trey Scott, have really closed on the distance. And they know Hero Extreme Godlike, they are bleeding at this very moment. Fury still knocked down, but Punk, he's going to take every single chance he has because he's got no other option, Necro. But even for NoNx, they really came close to getting Hero Extreme Godlike's bounty. Barring the heroics of Punk, the other players could have done really better in that situation. But now Punk having no other option but to get the hell out of there.
Hero Extreme Godlike was already in quite the precarious and dicey spot. So we all knew surviving this position is going to be extremely tough. They took the odds, they took the chance, pushed up towards the left side. Genesis Esports, I mean, they got wiped out during that process, but NoNx as well, they chimed inside of the fight. But as we move on towards 8-bit, and them wanting to take a fight against Phoenix Esports, luckily enough, they've already found a major opener. Goings down. And the moment Equinox finds the second angle, the second man of Phoenix Esports as well, he fails. As Phoenix now down to just a 2-man squad, and converting this fight is now going to be extremely tough. But for 8-bit, going for the revival is going to be the major thing they want to pull off.
Yeah, for 8-bit, surely they will have to. And Beast, he's got to finish 2 himself. And he's the impact player for them. And now Equinox desperately needing that rest back up. Espower already out of commission as Athanki finally dealt with by the notorious K9 boys. As they're also spitting fire, as they're also getting a lot of finishes. They've lost out on one of their players, but still K9 making it into the 6th stage of this game does bring in some good news. But look at this, Revenant X-Park, Trey Scott seems to stop at nothing at all as RNTX and GDR locking arms against each other. Where Neo, the final player surviving as Fury, he musters up some courage, goes pushing in, a Molotov or grenade to bait him out. Stunned, in fact, as Fury, still reluctant on going for the push. Finally changes his mind as Revenant X-Park. They're absolutely balling right now. 9 finishes already, and Fierce has one to his name.
The terrain's awkward, fights are scrappy, but Revenant X-Park, they're still reigning supreme. Ash falls down once again without any sort of conversion. And now Jatin, the only man left standing, but Jatin, he's got a completely different team he wants to deal with. K9 Esports from the back, and you've also got 8-Bit on the tail. It's rough. It's really rough. Jatin's not going to be able to survive this wrath of 8-Bit. And even K9 Esports constantly poking him from the back. It just gets even worse. Jatin's got so much mental pressure at this point. How does he make it out alive? I don't see any possible way Jatin can actually make it out alive. And eventually, he gets knocked out and confirmed as well.
Yeah, that's really, you know, how do you put it? Not really looking good for Phoenix anymore. Jatin, he tried his level best there. Did still manage to get a knock, but for Mad Kings, things have started to go on all awry as Sam, he's been taken out. Spray God, he goes barging in. Apollo gets dealt with, and Mad King, the biggest problem was their numbers. And now it has come into fruition as Global Esports embrace those frags for themselves.
Wow.
But what was that spray from Adi?
Disgusting knock. A pixel found, and he sprays it down perfectly. 8-Bit, 3 players lying out prone in the front. It's the players of Revenant X-Park, and soon maybe they will turn into crates. As Global Esports, they've got the prime spot. And at this moment, stopping Global Esports and their wrath is going to be extremely tough, unless 8-Bit pulls off a different shenanigan. But look at Veron, he's got different intentions himself. He moves up close and personal against the players of Revenant X-Park to gain some sort of intel. And he wants to convert that intel to Adi. And Adi from the top will reign supreme and rain down terror.
Global Esports seems to have taken over. Look at their position, look at the control they've had on this map, right? 8-Bit out of the zone, even K9 are not really inside the circle. Revenant X-Park could be one of those fierce competitors, as they also have a lot of finishes to their names. Even their numbers are back up. Trey Scott, he's got another chance at life. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of maneuvers do Revenant X-Park really opt for. Do not have a lot of covers. It's all those downhill ridges that they have to play with. And it's now like a game of chess, Necro. It's all about all these teams lying in wait to see who makes that first move and who capitalizes.
I still believe it's Global Esports' game to lose.
Me too.
They have the most advantage. They've got the only compound to play with, the only solid cover that's available inside of the zone. And this should be their game. They've also got the high ground to play with. Global Esports should start spreading themselves out. That's what I think.
So far, it's fine, right? Because Veron, he's got some area for himself. At least he's going to try and keep 8-Bit and K9 at bay.
Here we go.
It's going to be a really risky move, Spray God. And now K9, they have taken the bait. Veron getting taken down.
Wow.
Does not make things look easy for Global Esports as K9 makes some good work out of them as Global Esports trouble in paradise as Mania. He has to reposition and somehow they need to weather the storm.
It's a mayday situation for Global Esports. They never thought that K9 Esports would directly ram their vehicles on the compound. And Global Esports got absolutely shocked with this move. And now Spray God. Massive burden on the man's shoulder. He needs to convert a few more frags. He did find that one knock, which was absolutely helpful for the players of Global Esports, but it's not going to be done with that just yet. Spray God needs to move up, pounce together with the boys, and shut down the entirety of K9 Esports. That's the only time Global Esports can take a sigh of relief. Beast is still lurking around the corner. And the longer this man is alive, the more the threat will grow. And Beast will have a lot more confidence to work with. He will get the confirmed positioning of the players of Global Esports. But what a quick turnaround that was. Global Esports shutting down K9. It was a mad dash inside of the compound, but things were still quite dicey for K9. And converting that fight was next to impossible.
Yeah, of course it was. They did make the best out of the situation, at least took Veron down. And Global Esports will have to work a little bit more harder in order to secure that chicken dinner. But Fierce, he makes some nice movements. A knock on Equinox, again sabotaging the hopes of 8-bit on getting this chicken. As Somraj needs to be quick on getting that res back up. As Beast, he looks on forming the flank as Revenant takes Spark. They've got 3 men alive. Trey squad on one angle, and Adi really threading the needle and doing it quite well.
The man's able to find a lot of hit markers. Trey Scott lying prone in the open once again, and the man's position's not compromised well enough yet. Global Esports now finally moving outside of that compound as they realize the zone's now getting even smaller. And 8-bit out of nowhere, they can still stand a major chance to take this game home. They just need to find one knock against Global Esports, and Global Esports will instantly start to crumble. It's the domino effect that's on the way. Manya, Adi, and Spray God together moving up now. As Adi pushes up a little bit deep against the players of 8-bit, forming that off angle, but Revenant X-Spark for them, that's a lot of shots and a lot of damage. Players out in the open, 8-bit, they make a pounce on top of the players of Revenant X-Spark, but they get shut down from the back by Global Esports. And now the fight's taken down to a 3v3. A few players from RNTX, they're taken down low, but still the fight's convertible.
But look at this, Global Esports, all of their players clustered at one position. They need to find some room, and that is exactly what they're up to. And this is where doors have opened up for Trey Scott. He needs to find that opener. Surely has to catch somebody off guard, as they know that Trace is still inside the little shack. That's the only piece of cover that's there inside this particular circle. And Adi, he delivers this new addition to Global Esports. He's been changing a lot of things, and now so much pressure on Sensei and Fierce.
We've always talked about that. It's something about Global Esports and the first game. And they always somehow perform extremely well in the first game itself. And once again, we're seeing that happen. Global Esports in the first game, the relationship is looking strong. And on the verge of converting a chicken dinner with remarkable points. This can be an iconic and a flashy performance from Global Esports. And Fierce falls down as well. Look at Sensei falling all the way back in the blue. Is denying the bounty points. And Revenant X-Spark, yeah, stealing the bounty points away, but still for Global Esports, it's a massive win. And it's something about the first game in Global Esports. They always do really good.
Yeah, absolutely, especially that one fight where they had to take on the players of Mad Cakes. But more than that, it was the read of the circle, and it was Mania Magic once again. Have a nice position, eliminate your foes around your vicinity, and the moment K9 really slammed in, they did lose out on Feron, but that is where hopes were not given up for the players. And towards the end, dishing out major chunks of damage, not just to Revenant X-Spark, but also they commit for that fight against 8-bit as well. And Adi opening it on Trey Scott, that is where I think we were all sure that yes, Global Esports, they have this in the bag.
Revenant X-Spark as well, nothing taken away from them. It was still quite a solid game. And even for 8-bit, it was a decent game from them, surviving till the top 3 with an occasion amount of elimination points. For 8-bit, it was a consistent game. For Revenant X-Spark, a solid game. And for Global Esports, an extraordinary game.
I really felt like Revenant X-Spark should have capitalized the moment GE pushed it on 8-bit there. They were all hunkered up in that one position, and still no movements are being made over there. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to tune in for a short little break. We'll be right back. You don't go anywhere.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
The relation of global esports and the first game is extremely strong, but still the question remains, the teams on the bottom, we're not seeing a lot of improvements from them. We did see NINZA for a while in that game. They were around that Rozhok vicinity and absolutely got rolled by Phoenix Esports as well.
Yeah, I think for NINZA's things haven't really improved, but improvements from Phoenix Esports.
Yep, top 6.
Even for K9 also, we saw them making it into the latter phases of the game. So they've been on a little bit of a climb, and I really hope that this time Slug has the power of being the impact player. Surely has to leave some impressions around. But yeah, I think major takeaways have to be those final fights. Revenant X-Park, they were also firing on all cylinders, but I still feel, Necro, that they could have stolen this away from Global Esports.
We did see God's Reign as well for a while around that fray too, but honestly speaking, the MVP was the circle itself. It was so awkward out in the open, not a lot of places to play with. The only reach was occupied by the players of Revenant X-Park. God's Reign, the moment they tried to make it, even they got eliminated in the same area. We also did see K9 Esports straight up priming their vehicles around the players of Global Esports, and to convert that fight, it was impossible.
Yeah, it was. And to be honest, in those final moments for Global Esports, they were really having their socks put up. They were quite cautious. They took every single measure that had to be taken. But for NoNx, improvements were made. They took a beautiful fight against Hero Extreme Godlike, but what was even more beautiful was Punk clutching them out solo towards the end, because had NoNx eliminated Punk also, they would have received those extra 10 juicy points.
For Hero Extreme Godlike, the threat was bigger than NoNx, and I'm talking about Genesis Esports. That was supposed to be a bigger threat compared to NoNx, but something happened to Genesis Esports. We saw in the elimination feed, Hunters got knocked out by fall damage. We don't exactly know what happened there, but for Genesis Esports, I genuinely think this as well could have been a decent game if they would have played it right.
What I really felt like, maybe he was just traversing around and somebody might have shot him and would have ejected from the vehicle really quick. But when you take a look at the never settled moments, I think it was 4TR and Mad Kings off to a really mad start. But eventually it was K9 who did become the criminals there. They came out of nowhere, got 2 also out of Mad Kings after Mad Kings were feeling really comfy there. 4TR could not survive for long. Even OG looked quite stranded. All their players far apart from each other, but Atanki, kudos to him, did take the reins of surviving for quite some time and also bagged a lot of finishes for his team.
Yeah, he was able to get a few scrappy points for his team, but for OG, once again, I don't think the concern is going to be about losing out in these type of games, right? 1 or 2 games lost out, it's completely fine for OG. They've got a massive cushion to work with. They're still inside of the top 4. Taking them away is going to be extremely tough. So for OG, all they need to do is just hit that average. And we know that's how OG likes to play as well. In the past tournament, OG, the moment they found that first spot, OG was not going for flashy plays anymore. They were trying to get those 7 to 8 points per game. They were playing for the average. And I'm pretty sure that's what the game style is going to be for OG. Not going for flashy plays, not going for big games, just go for the average. We've got the match rankings on the screen. 23 points from Global Esports. That could have been 33 if the bounty was claimed, and probably 34 since the last man would have been claimed as well. But since Sensei gave his elimination points away to the gods of BGMS, that bounty was not able to claim.
NoNx did get a bounty, and I'm kind of rather curious to know whose bounty they exactly got, because okay, even Hero Extreme got, like, when he saw that fight happening, it was Punk who clutched it out. But seems like the sound in my head says it was Genesis who was taken down by NoNx.
Yep, it was Genesis. And that's what I was saying, right? Genesis Esports was right next to Hero Extreme Godlike, and Genesis was supposed to be the biggest threat to Hero Extreme Godlike. But for some reason, something happened. Hunters fell down to fall damage, and that right there was a massive opener for the players of NoNx, maybe, and that's where they took the advantage and got the man advantage as well and converted that bounty. Leaderboard on the screen. Genesis Esports still on top with 311 points, not really shaken away that much. Revenant X Park a bit of a leap on the second spot.
Yeah, Revenant X Park, every single time those, extra masalas get added, you've got Impact, you've got Bounty Hunting, you've got Power Play. That is where you see them really coming alive, and that is where they embrace it. Today we know Fierce has the power of being the Impact player. So, yeah, he's been quite good. Revenant X Park really off to a good start, but the other teams really need to buckle up. We're talking about Matt King, Sport TR official. They need to settle whatever the differences they have, and the next time they drop down on Erangel, surely would like to have those extra men up.
Yeah, before this game started, Global Esports was on the 9th spot in the overall standings, and now they have finally breached in that top 8 in a decent spot as well. But Global Esports needs consistency. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short break before we move on towards the land of Miramar.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Radar, the Wicked Ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
All right, class. For today's lesson,
I already taught her something.
Wicked's now gone next gen. The TVS Radar iQOO brings more swagger with the digital cluster with 85 plus connected features, GTT best in class torque, and now 9 crazy colors. So I'd recommend you guys to check out the TVS Radar. Of course, it's one of the best bikes out there. But back towards the conversation that we're having, right? Games are passing by, days are passing by, teams at the bottom, not a lot of improvements. But this is the moment where they should at least start experimenting something new. We're not really seeing a lot of new stuff from them either.
They should be going all out, is all I have to say, right? Because these weekends is the perfect platform where you can get majority of the points. And now heading on, it has to be Miramar. Imagine in the previous game we had 4 bounty teams playing and only 1 bounty was hunted. So that raises a lot of questions and question marks also on OG and the performance in the previous one. Because again, still I'm trying to wrap my heads around the fact that how could they have all their players isolated from each other?
Another massive shout out to OnePlus. The players currently on the screen are also playing on the OnePlus 13R. Of course, one of the best devices out there. They're having quite a smooth experience as well. And that's one of the main reasons why you can see them pull off massive clutches too. It's really helping them out in their performance as well. And it can help you out in your performance too. So do check out the OnePlus 13. But back towards the conversation, right? And generally speaking, now as we move on towards the map of Miramar, this is where you expect the massive names really pop out. Yesterday, we saw a bit of a drop clash between Global Esports and even 4TR towards that Picado vicinity, and Global Esports got absolutely dominated. And that is one of the main reasons maybe Global Esports will try and switch things up a little bit around Picado, maybe change the drop pattern.
Hopefully they should, but knowing Mane, he's a stubborn lad, right? He would rather want to fight it out, and considering GE had such a great game in this previous one, they would be eyeing out for that back-to-back chicken. But it's not going to be easy, especially when you've got Somraj on the server. Miramar being one of his own playing grounds, and 8-Bit, I must say, they also had a decent outing in the previous one.
I mean, especially for 8-Bit. At this point in time, they are having the consistency, they are having those good performances as well. And I'm pretty sure the boys is just waiting to breach inside of the top 4. That's the only thing that's lacking. But we all know it's 8-Bit at the end of the day. It's Somraj and the boys. They've got so much experience. They've got so much firepower. Everything is available in that lineup. And if they really want, they can easily breach in that top 4 as well. And we also had a conversation a few days back, right? A lot of these teams really do not want that bounty on top of their heads. They think it's that extra bit of pressure.
Of course it is. Especially when you know that there would be so many teams out there hunting for you. It's always that sword hanging over your head. And let's see, this time also we've got 4 teams. They've got bounty on themselves. And let's see what happens as we will charter through the skies in a wee while. It is going to be in the desert of Miramar. It's going to be lovely. And so is the flight path trajectory, at least for the players, all the way from Valademar towards Strockstop.
This plant flat pad tilted a little bit down south if the teams do want to move up north. Now that's going to be a bit of a rough stretch, especially towards El Pozo, Crater Fields. You've also got water treatment that might just be out of the way. But let's see how things really do pan out. And especially as we know in the stage 1, the power play is going to be active as well. I would love to see a few drop clashes. One thing is for sure, we will see the 4TR and Global Esports drop clash towards Picado, but any other will just add the cherry on top of the cake.
Yesterday, the way Global Esports got taken down, I'm pretty sure
they
would have fire up the veins.
Oh, they definitely did change the drop location. Global Esports moving somewhere else. Do not want to lack in the points and do not want to lock horns against the players of 4TR, I guess.
Makes no sense. We've never seen Global Esports drop down so low around Valademar. Maybe, I think they want to have a good game, right? It's all about building that momentum up and knowing that 4TR has been drop clashing over there. Seems like they will take some steps back, but Picado has different participants. We've got NoNx, and then there's somebody from Revenant X-Park. Is it?
I guess it depends on group to group. If this group was not playing, Global Esports would have dropped on Picado right next to 4TR. And even 4TR has switched things up. Now look at them towards Los Leones. Los Leones is quite a massive city. 3 teams can easily drop in and loot up. But as we move on towards Picado, this drop clash, it's a little bit unique. Revenant X-Park locking horns against the players of NoNx. And Revenant X-Park, you do not really see them drop on towards Picado that much.
Exactly, that's what I'm really concerned about. And Revenant X-Park, if my memory serves me right, they've got a bounty on their head. And of course, they have swung their swords. They've got the knock. Now they're committing in for the push. Trey Scott being a little agile there. Quite nimble as he has snuck past through. Viper completely oblivious of where Trey Scott is.
Now he knows.
Now he does. Of course, still not taking those shots, but playing in tandem. Trace.
Oh my God.
Pushing through, gets that knock onto its Viper, and NoNx. They're in a world of trouble there.
Disconnect between the players, and that's the main reason why now the players are getting picked off as well. NoNx. Bad start to the fight. Already one man's down. And that dude Trace is the one to get the confirmation. Anonymous and Kalyug, they've got a massive crossfire set up. The moment anyone moves out from Revenant X Park, exposing themselves to both these players, he will be absolutely shredded. Trey Scott is constantly moving out himself to gain some sort of an intel. But the moment Anonymous goes for the shots, his position will be compromised. And once again, another casualty might just follow up.
And that's not good, especially for NoNx, considering they were the bounty hunters in the previous game. Got the bounty of Genesis Esports, and now suddenly down to just 3 men. Trey Scott, he does have that explosive bow to play around quite so much out in the open, and still Anonymous exercising utmost discipline, not really giving his position away as Trey Scott.
That's a free knock right there, Anonymous. Come on.
Yeah, still makes no sense. Could have gotten that knock, could have also finished him off.
That could have been an extra bit of pressure added on the players of Revenant X Park, and finally he strikes! Getting the confirmation is going to be impossible, but now that's the extra pressure that we're talking about. Revenant X Park in a bit of a trouble, but I love this move from Fury. Behind the car now, that means pushing inside of that house is now even impossible. Going in that casino is impossible. Fury, this man is like a defensive wall. Impossible to crack. And he's constantly on the overwatch. NoNx, if they do want to move in, the only possible way is to shut down Fury.
Yeah, they will have to. Fury, he's taking a risky play there. He's out in the open trying to draw all that attention as Anonymous. He's starting to feel the heat. Trey Scott back on full health. He wants to re-engage in the fight, and Fierce, he's got the privilege to be the impact player. Surely has to leave some impact as a grenade gets flung over. It's going to be Fury who opens it up once again as Kalyuk still trying to be a little bit stealthy there. Hasn't revealed his position. As Fierce, Fury working it out together. Where's Sensei on the back lines, trying to secure the flank at the very least. And the other player of NoNx a little far off from the pack as Revenant X Park. They finally decide to push in tandem, and there you go. Fierce this time. He will not miss his mark, as a knock and a finish will ensure that him being the impact player, he gets those quadruple points.
Kalyuk's not going to stand a chance. Absolutely shredded to pieces. And NoNx, a big advantage. Massive advantage. Sensei all by himself. And Sensei, if I remember, the man's not too good when it comes to executing the duels. He has been lacking. And taking a duel against a man like Kana will be a tough pill to swallow. But let's see. Maybe Sensei's got something in his back. Maybe he wants to show us something new. Sensei is quite the explorer himself.
Yeah, he's been exploring a lot these days. And now, let's see if he can have a take, really let his impact player take a jab. But no, it was Sensei himself. Oh, that was all a ruse. That was all a fake. And there you have it. You know, gave him that false sense of hope, at least for Kana, that he could at least go and steal that finish away. And then the moment he peeks out, you've got Fierce saying hello. So Fierce getting those 2 points is going to be so crucial, because now he's the impact player. So he's got around
8 points.
Just for himself.
And 4 more points on top.
Well, already for Revenant X Park.
Revenant X Park. Consistent string is alive. Sensei almost could have been dropped down. But luckily enough, the man's alive and extremely strong. Revenant X Park, that's a way to deal with the drop clash. Global Esports have got a lot to learn from them. But back towards the conversation about Global Esports and 4TR's drop clash. And the funny part is 4TR was whiffing all their nades. If you remember, all the utilities were whiffed up. That one nade landed, luckily enough, and he was able to find the knock, and that's how the demise of Global Esports started. 4TR was panicking so much in that drop clash.
But I must still, beg to differ a little bit, because when we were talking about that particular fight, it was Morty who got those initial 2 frags. Had he not gotten those, things got a little tipsy-turvy. There were a few trades, but it was Morty who secured those important, valuable knocks, and they knew that it is going to be such a tough task, really, because when you are trying to push upon the red buildings, it is not really easy if you talk about it. But still, Morty doing that speaks volumes. But NoNx, they have been dealt with, but it is the meta NINZAs that have come in for the assault. Did snuff out Sensei. Did want to take a couple of shots at his direction, but Sensei seems like this man does not fear anything at all.
Interesting. Dragon OP is the impact player. I'm not exactly sure what sort of shenanigans Meta NINZA want to pull off this time around, but if Dragon OP is going to be the impact player, one thing is for sure, we might just see it affect the man's IGLing. There's definitely a chance, because Dragon will be focused on getting the elimination points to himself. Oh, Salt on top of the boots, Manya, the IGL of global esports, Panda Death.
His favorite IGL.
Wow.
Espower's favorite IGL, and he pans him. What a message has that been. But so far, even for TWOB, their days look quite numbered as Puka already down on his knees. Phantom takes a jab. He succeeds, gets a beautiful knock, and gets a second one as well, as TWOB certainly turning the tables around. And Meta NINZAs seems like they're having a taste of fear.
Phantom. Nade being cooked up in the man's hand. And if this toss is going to be perfect enough, that's going to be another knock on the board. Meta NINZA struggles flying it all across the board. Phantom's taken down extremely low. The man does not really have a lot of bullets. Luckily enough, he moves back inside a cover before the flames start to spread. So Phantom's going to be okay as of now. Needs to get the fresh magazine in the UMP45 as well, and he will do so too, TWOB. But what happened, Reaper? Oh, this man moved in through the Molotov, and now Reaper himself is taken down extremely low. The problem is, he does not have any big meds, and that's where he might just drop down, but no, he still turns the tide, and he wins that duel. Meta NINZA, still, they've got a lot of life left in them. Bakar, Phantom, the final two blocks standing. This nade seems like it's going to be on the cover, and it will be. Vicious down.
He got away with murder there. Reaper having no HP really to play around. Still, he manages to not find just one but another finish. And TWOB, talk about them really messing this one up. As now Pukar, he's going to get that rest back up. You've got Phantom still at optimum HP as Reaper. He's doing this. He's on the verge of pulling out one of the best clutches so far. As now Phantom will take another jab, grenade lob, nothing happening out of that one. Reaper, I do not know how is he still breathing. Barely has any HP to play around, but that DBS, we know it's a game changer.
It indeed is. Reaper, the man does not really have a lot of HP, and that's going to be the nail in the coffin. TWOB winning this fight. Who would have thought? Meta NINZA, man, they really fell off, huh, Fixes?
Yeah.
Losing fights like these, where they've got the advantage, you never would have thought, even in your dreams, Meta NINZAs will lose this. But they have lost it.
Yeah, something's really not right with Meta NINZAs. We have to talk it out with the players, because this is not the Meta NINZAs we saw a couple of weeks ago. It's not even months. And it seems like they're completely distracted, lost. I do not know what's going on, but something's definitely not right.
To be honest, we all knew Meta NINZA, they lack aggression. Let's be honest.
But they made up for it. Come on. I will have to vehemently oppose this, because just recently in the recently held third-party tournament, they had second highest finishes towards the end.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? That lobby compared to this lobby, it's a little bit different. I feel like the playstyle, it's much more different. This is not a raw competitive game. Inside of this game, you've got those bonus cards active. You've got power play, you've got bounty, you've got impact player active. And the lobby functions a little bit different. And since we've got so many days, everyone is switching up the strategy. Meta NINZA, they like to play it from the smack center. And to execute a strategy like that, you need a lot of analytical data. And when you do not have that, executing that strategy gets impossible.
So for Meta NINZAs, what I've really seen from their side is they usually like playing around the edges in the initial circles. They wait for that hard shift, and the moment that happens, they take over the center. I completely agree with your fact that they're not really playing according to the requirements of this tournament, of how this format was really based out of, because the majority of finishes, if we talk about in that particular LAN and even in the officials, comes primarily out of them holding those situations well. Where this tournament requires you to be a lot more proactive than reactive. I think that is the problem for Meta NINZAs.
That exactly is. Meta NINZA not too good when it comes to taking those early game fights. And
really
that's the struggle.
Forcing fights.
Well, if that's the case, right, they should use this tournament as like a warm-up. They should use this tournament as like an improvement curve. Exactly. And they should learn. They should take those early game fights and try and patch that issue. Because it's a genuine issue now. If you cannot convert the early game fights, it's a problem. As a pro player, no matter what sort of situation you're thrown in, you should be flexible enough.
Look at the circle, Necro. It's a certain one. Phoenix find themselves at the smack center. Even Genesis, they would be hoping that they get a chicken dinner in this one because they would want Hunters to be back to A form once again. Even you could see Revenant X-Spark, iQOO Soul. And my eyes are also looking out for the players of K9 who have injected themselves from the northeastern sides. And even for Hero Extreme Godlike, an interesting fight waits for them because GDR is right in front of them. And we know this is a GDR that is in a hot form.
Well, as of now, though, God's Reign do not really seem that hot. They're quite calm and cool. And right behind them is Hero Extreme Godlike, making their way and making their move. There is Punk right in front, Destro getting shot at from the sidelines as well. Everything is filled up with foes. Lines of sight all across the board. That one man separated from Hero Extreme Godlike, he's starting to have a lot of impact. Admino, the impact player himself, now he needs to start racking up those elimination points, and what an 8 that was! Destro, second one tossed in, but it's a little bit of an overshoot. God still fine. Punk crawling away to safety towards Admino. That should be an easy revival. But look at God's Reign now finally starting to reunite. The moment they found out that they've got the advantage, God's Reign, they move in tandem, reunite, and now it's time to punish the players of Godlike. This man is quite isolated, but he tosses a perfect Molotov, but still one man is already managing to squeeze through, and Gods falls down, losing that important duel. Delta winning it. Oh, but he falls straight in that Molotov. He wanted to vault outside of that window, but he messed up big time. Admino gets knocked out, though. For Hero Extreme Godlike, the strings are falling apart. This fight, it's not theirs.
Yeah, and even his finish has been stolen away. Neo could not confirm that finish. Had he done that, they could have had a dig at Hero Extreme Godlike's bounty. As K9, they put their toes in that as for God's Reign. Trouble still lurking around them as Hero Extreme Godlike look to disengage as GDR will farm a couple of those extra fallen knocks, get those finishes as Justin should get himself back up, should not be a major threat, but Justin, he's been taken down, he's been finished off. What happened there?
Too many teams around that fray.
So sketchy.
K9 as well from the back was constantly firing on all cylinders and Justin got overwhelmed, could not take any of that. And now for Hero Extreme Godlike, they're quite exposed themselves. They finally do found a bit of that compound, but it's not the best possible one yet. Hero Extreme Godlike still needs to traverse through that same road and find a better spot. As God's Reign, even they want to shut down the players of K9 Esports, or at least have a shot at doing so. But once again, even for God's Reign, it's quite an awkward start. Just one elimination point gathered from that fight. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. And let's be honest, God's Reign had a chance, had a shot to convert the bounty as well, by the way. If they would have forced the fight well enough, if they would have got those elimination points, that would have been bounty claimed right there. God's Reign do not have the chance to claim the bounty anymore, but at least they can still go for the elimination points. And Destro, he finds the line of sight on that shack. Shots were taken, the man's taken down low, but it's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough, but look at this. Omega still on the horizon. Hero Extreme Godlike losing out on options there. Completely restricted to that small little shack as Destro will open it up once again as Spark, the dying hope for Hero Extreme Godlike as GDR, Delta and Neo. Both of them push and that will mark the end for Hero Extreme Godlike as GDR successfully win this fight. And so do Team Orangutan as they also wipe out Revenant X-Spark. But the big question is, do they get their bounty?
No, they don't. But K9 Esports, they're constantly raining down terror and fear on top of the players of God's Reign. And for God's Reign to move now, it's getting real impossible. OG in the front, 3 players next to each other. Aru, WizGod, and Atanki. Right next to each other. Equinox next to S-Power. These 2 players Especially looking at OG. Even they're going to be on the move. But for OG, they know the surrounding lines. They're filled up with too many foes moving anywhere. It's pretty much going to be walking into a death trap. For God's Reign, they're getting pounced on by the players of K9 Esports. But K9, they've got a different problem to deal with themselves, as they've taken a lot of damage upon themselves. Blue's on the move. God's Reign as well. They need to be on the move with the Blue itself. And that's points right there. If they do manage to claim them, though.
It's Phoenix Esports raining death and destruction from atop. And GDR are going to be quite unpleased with what just happened, right? They were supposed to be their prey and was eventually stolen away, as even Mad Kings, Necro, they falls a bit in the dust as Omega, the final player surviving, and GDR absolutely furious. Those elimination points being taken away as Destro, he falls down. And he gets knocked out, but Omega, yeah, he gets completely finished off, as even Phoenix, they have snuffed out all that threat. They know that GDR, they have exposed themselves with Destro falling down from that vehicle. Phoenix Esports, there could not be a moment better than this to farm up a lot of finishes.
Archit is right next to one of the men from the side of God's Reign. Or maybe right above them. Archit, he can hear a lot of footsteps right underneath, but he does not know how to react upon that. He does want to punish them a bit more. He's already found a knock all the way in the far fray. But God's Reign, still with a shot at life. But Phoenix, they want to completely shut them down. And doing so might just require a lot of patience.
Yeah.
But patience is something that you cannot afford right now because you're outside of the zone. You need to make it in.
And especially with GDR losing out on Destro like that, they surely would not really be pleased about that. But again, Phoenix, let's not forget, right? They haven't been having the best of days. And GDR ended their day yesterday with a chicken dinner. And even now, they've got 6 to their tally. So, of course, you've got Neo and Delta. However, you would want Neo to farm a few more finishes, as he's the impact player this week. As now 4TR looking on locking horns against Genesis. But bear in mind, Global Esports aren't that further away.
Genesis with the high ground. They're, of course, suppressing the players of 4TR. Z got a little bit separated from the pack, but here's the real concern. If Global Esports is able to find a line of sight onto Z-God, that can be a free, easy knock. But Global Esports, to do that, they will also need to expose themselves to Genesis Esports, so it's a little bit tough. But Z-God now is getting shot at himself. Quite softened up, barely surviving on a pixel of HP. And this is where the real struggle begins. And Global Esports, they might just have a chance to get the revenge against 4TR of what happened yesterday.
They're all coiled up, just ready to strike there. As Z-God being the impact player, he needs to have some impact. Already taken quite low, but now Phoenix Esports, this is Hail Mary hitting on them, as Archit has taken a barrage of damage there. Brought down pretty low as Genesis Esports trying to work things around, especially they've got 4TR to deal with. And bigger concerns with Global Esports still looming over their heads. Gravity having that high ground advantage. Lob that grenade. Does not hit its mark, as Z-God still alive, still safe. But now Genesis really need to understand that they're exposed even from their backlines, as Team Orangutan is slowly wrapping up as Hunters. He goes ahead wanting to get that knock, and there you have it. Global Esports pressing matters against INF God, and somehow he deals with 2 players, with Adi trying to make a run, trying to come in close, but he's going to fail as well, as he gets sandwiched, and INF God will devour them all.
How did they lose a fight against 4TR the second time? This is unbelievable stuff from 4TR. Yeah, it does seem like it. They are Global Esports' kryptonite. And the crazy fact is, Global Esports won that previous game, and now falling down like this, without even a chance to fight back against a team like 4TR who's struggling at the bottom, this is some weird stuff.
I really need to contemplate around what's going on. I mean, so difficult to make out of what situations we really have building up, as Genesis trying to close in the grab. It's going to be Yash completely exposed, vulnerable, as those trades do come in from Genesis sides, as Atanki, he gets dealt with. Even Vizgor down on his knees. iQOO 8-bit also being third-partying in this situation, as Gravity quite exposed, takes a massive chunk of damage, but still not out yet.
Genesis Esports constantly trying to hammer down the surroundings. And at this point, it seems like they're definitely getting hampered by the players of 4TR. But eventually, they hammer down Z-God. 4TR in a big world of trouble. There is Pain right there in front, but he's still able to find another knock. And Pain somehow is able to shut down 2 more players of Genesis. How does this happen? Pain, he's making sure that Genesis Esports is going to start to feel a lot of pain themselves.
Oh no.
But he wanted to go for the revival, ended up exposing himself a bit too much to the players of 8-Bit, and that's an opportunity grabbed. And with that, 1 elimination point follows up for 8-Bit.
Oh, and look at this. Vizgod, the only surviving member. He is the impact player, and Orangutan, having had to just play 2 games, haven't performed that well, have they? As Aquinox will just run him down. As OG, they bite the dust as Genesis survive with just gravity there. Only 1 finish, but seems like this game does have 8-Bit written all over it, as they're slowly but surely starting to take control over this game now, as Gravity is still swinging with his shotgun, but will eventually fall down to his power, and that does mark the end of Genesis.
But look who's still alive. Marcos Gaming and Phoenix Esports. The 2 teams struggling on the last page, but now with a chance to maybe secure a chicken dinner, and this can be the catapult to glory. Phoenix Esports, 3 men still intact. What sort of a strategy they need to pull off to get this chicken dinner, it's unknown. But the only thorn in the way is going to be the players of 8-Bit as of now. Marcos Gaming, all the 4 players, they're playing all the way down south. So at least as of now, Marcos Gaming is not going to be that big of a trouble. Taking down 8-Bit's your main concern. And let's be honest, Phoenix Esports, they have been pretty good in their firefights. If a proper 3v3 happens, I genuinely think Phoenix Esports will have equal chance of winning it.
Yeah, Phoenix Esports definitely do. But for now, we're just going to wait and watch. Let the game take its own pace as 8-Bit. They certainly are the strongest contenders here. If you look at the names around it, his power, he's feeling himself. Beast could not get a lot. He was the impact player. But still, 7 finishes, not too shabby. But Somraj really eyeing out on the chicken dinner in that one, as Marcus Gaming still have majority of the circle. 8-Bit also need to close in. But the big problem is that the moment they come out, they would be absolutely exposed. And that is where even Phoenix Esports could make some impressions there. But Marcus Gaming, they're taking things slow. Looks like they committed for this chicken dinner.
Yeah, tapping away the man is. Naughty spots out the guy in the front, prone. But still, that pixel is not good enough. The connection is impossible. Everyone is now trying to inch in slowly and steadily inside of the circle, and Marcos Gaming, they've always pulled off the unthinkable. The moment you think Marcos Gaming can win a game, they somehow end up winning the game. And over here, in this given position, 8-Bit, they do not have a good spot either. Next to Phoenix Esports, that's even worse.
What's going on? It's all a waiting game, right? It's all about somebody making the wrong move and the other capitalizing on it, and seems like Phoenix might have exactly done the same. Going around the low ridges, especially when Espower has a nade lobbed up. There you go, Espower, having no trouble. Instantly gets that knock, and Ash, what is he up to? No response from the IGL as Espower overexposing himself. And now Marcus Gaming find their mark. As now, even Phoenix, they decide to bounce back. Jatin, what a beautiful grenade that was.
Yeah, Jatin now is the only man who can actually save the day for the sinking boat of Phoenix Esports. But going for the revival is going to make a lot more sense now. Jatin, come on, just stick that revival on Godin. You might just have a solid shot at grabbing a few more elimination points. But this nade, it was so good. Right precise next to the man, gets the elimination. But once again, the real concern lies, Ash is not able to contribute that well enough to this entire roster. But as we move on towards the fight once again, Somraj, he's got the guts to push up and duel him down. Insane stuff from 8-Bit Somraj.
Yeah, that's some real cojones there from the IGL himself, taking matters to his own hands. But seems like his days are numbered in this one as Marcus Gaming. They've got the entire squad in front of him. And it's going to be a miracle that Somraj has to pull off, as he's already tanked up quite some damage there. barely down to 20% HP as Marcus Gaming know exactly where their prey is. And there you go, Stone BGMI will deliver the final blow as Marcus Gaming get this winner chicken dinner.
As expected, it is Marcos Gaming with the positional advantage, gaining that chicken dinner. But honestly speaking, for Phoenix Esports, oh boy, Jahan and Golden, they tried their best, but Ash, you need to do something, my man. You cannot keep on choking up fights like that. And at this point, it really does feel like that is that one string that's holding back Phoenix Esports' potential.
Ash really needs to amp up his firepower there. Really felt like he could have contributed so much. But even 8-Bit won't really be sad. They did get a lot of finishes to their names. But Marcus Gaming, a very underrated one. Because when you look at the former org, it was God's Omen. And just recently held officials, we know during the league stages, they got 3 chicken dinners in a day. Could have potentially made it 4. And we loved them. And one of those chicken dinners came out in this very map itself. So could really never rule them out. Marcus Gaming have low-key under the radar. They have been climbing up, and this is just another example of that.
Marcus Gaming still needs to cross that 200 points marker. Maybe after this game, there's a big chance they've already done it. So we'll need to have a look at the overall standings to figure out how Marcus Gaming is looking like on the overall tally. But I'm pretty sure after this game, they're going to find themselves in the decent spot. Remember, the goal is to be in the top 12, since the team from the 5th to the 12th spot will move on towards the semifinals, and the top 4 directly towards the grand finals. Before now, let's move on to a short and a quick little break, because on the other side of the break will be the map of Sanhok, where things will be fired up.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Radar, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
You forgot to charge your phone. Why won't you wake up?
Humble beginning हमेशा नहीं था स्टार यूसी लेने से पहले सोचता था 100 बार डर था बड़ा स्कैम्स का डाउट्स थे हजार तब प्ले ओपी आया तो लगा ही नहीं पर तो मैंने लिया यूसी सेव गेम किया रेस प्ले मेरे साथ यहाँ ड्रॉप्स एकदम हार्ड प्ले तेरे साथ ओपी तू भी कर ले स्टार्ट
Marcos Gaming with another banger. Now might just be safe in the overall standings, but still the Herculean task remains to be in the top 4 or either in the top 12. Before now, once again, as we know, the real conversation really does rely around teams like Phoenix Esports as well, and even teams like 8-Bit who were right there in the final few moments. Especially for Phoenix Esports, I generally think the second spot could have been grabbed, but that one mess up was something that really brought them down.
Yeah, it certainly, I cannot agree more on that because Phoenix could have done so much more. But still, when you look at the silver lining, must say that Phoenix have made some.
They're stepping up, yeah.
This time around, being a little consistent there, finally starting to win fights because Phoenix, I don't want to sound really brutal, but it was pretty much all about Goten, right?
Yeah.
They were so reliant on Goten that if he does not perform, that the other players really fell apart. But this time we did see even Jatan stepping up, even Archit has been doing his bidding, but I completely agree when you say that Ash really needs to step the heck up.
Yeah, he needs to. And at this point, it feels like the water's already overflown.
Yeah.
And if he does not step up right now, we might just see them moving on towards playoffs where they will only have 4 games to prove themselves. And we all know, it's pretty much a gamble that you're taking. What if all the 4 games are unlucky for you? Anything can happen, man. Betting on towards playoffs is extremely tough. You should never think about that. At least be in the top 12. Move on towards the semifinals. The MVP of that previous game is going to be S-Power with 4 finishes and 40% finish contribution. Solid stuff from the man himself. Then we move on towards the stars of the match. Religit is going to be the best companion with 0 rescues and 2 assists. With healing done's going to be 92. Then you've also got right there the man from the side of Marcos Gaming getting 2 finishes and being the finisher since he got the last elimination confirmed. But once again, as we were mentioning too, right, even for a moment we thought K9 Esports can actually boot up a nuclear performance, but K9 Esports messed up the moment they moved down to try and get that fight against the players of God's Reign, and they messed up that fight big time.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an overcommitment there because, yeah, God's Reign, Hero Extreme, Godlike, they were duking it out against each other. K9 did third party in that one, and that was all A-okay. The moment they went downhill, that is where things really went awry, and we're going to catch all that glimpse around the never settle moments from OnePlus. For 8-Bit, I mean, well, Manya was supposed to be S-Power's favorite, IGL, and he did pan him around, and this is where even GDR weren't looking that great, but Portia, Iron of God, gotta give kudos to that clutch against Esports. I mean, he's manhandling these boys, and he's done it for the second time.
I'm not exactly sure how he was able to pull that off every single time, but single-handedly shutting down 3 players. Once again, from the side of Global Esports, that is a brutal statement the man's coming out with. And then later on, 8-Bit, of course, in the final few moments, they were able to shut down the players of Phoenix Esports. Samrat somehow had the guts to push up and eliminate. And you can clearly see the man's having a lot of fun time, because Samrat knew he was taking a major gamble when he made that push. He did not know if the revivals already came through. He just went in there. Luckily enough, he won that fight. Then he moved up against Marcos Gaming. He did not even stand a chance. Match ranking pops up on the screen. Marcos with the chicken dinner getting 16, but 8-Bit still on top with 17 total points.
And look at Revenant X-Park, right? They got picked off so early, but given the fact that they did have Fierce getting 2 finishes in the power play, being the impact player, they just got around 10 points in one fight, and the remainder of those 5 points were collected eventually, but for the others, I think even GDR, they're getting back to their aggressive ways. We're seeing them get a lot of finishes to their name. 8 this time around. Orangutan still 8, not acceptable by their standards. But for Hero Extreme Godlike, today's 2 games haven't gone their way really.
Seems like it. Even Genesis Esports, a
iQOO
decent game
also
from them, right? And you move on towards the latter half, as you mentioned. Soul, Hero Extreme, Godlike, not really good game. Soul getting 1 point, Hero Extreme getting 0 points. Global Esports as well. That was quite a rough game. Yeah, the game 1 was great, but game 2, something's wrong with Global Esports, man. It's always about the game 1 for Global Esports. They do really good, and then instantly you see the ball dropping down in game 2.
And global esports, when you talk about the players involved in the lineup, you've got the likes of Veron, you've got Spray God.
Yeah.
I mean, how on earth do you fall down like that, especially? But again, nothing taken away from INFCOT. Lately, he's been drawing a lot of eyeballs to him. A very good player, but when you look at the overall standings, Revenant X Spark, they have equalized against Genesis. Of course, they've got those 2 extra matches, but that's a-okay. But when you move ahead, you could see, right, Marcus Gaming again climbing up the ladder, and now, finally, I think your wishes have been granted. They've crossed past that 200 marker.
And not too far away from breaching inside of the top 12 as well. So that's another good and brownie point for them. Mind you, Los Hermanos right underneath them, and soon we know in the upcoming group, mind you, Los Hermanos as well will be the part of the action. On the last page, you will see a few surprising names, and I guess fixes for all of us, the most surprising name was Reckoning Esports. This is supposed to be a champions lineup, and yes, even FS Esports. A lineup that we pretty much almost saw being the champions and now struggling so much on the last page. I'm pretty sure it's the worst possible nightmare for these players.
It's not about just them being the previous, almost being the previous champions. Let's not forget, just the previous weekend, they were in the top 4, for God's sake. And suddenly, at the very bottom, I do not know, that's an absolute crumble. But yes, you can check out Duolingo if you want to learn multiple languages, just like I'm trying to learn French. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is head for a short little break, because coming right after is going to be action straight from Sanhok.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Within a few moments, the third map of the day will be booting up on the screen, and I'm speaking of the map of Sanhok. As we know, it's quite a zone-oriented map. The moment you've got a stronghold of the circle, the game should be yours. That's how Sanhok works. And fixes, I mean, these are the sort of maps where teams like NINZA should try and take advantage of, but unfortunately for NINZA, they're not really playing this game, so that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at, because now we've got a little bit of a change, right? We've got Group A and C duking it out, so we would get to see that iconic collision once again. You've got Mad Kings dropping down on Hero Extreme Godlike around Bootcamp. That's going to be fun. I really want to see what's going to happen at Paradise Resort. We've got Victoria Summers making their way in, and Victoria Summers, to be honest, yesterday was quite phenomenal for them. They had a chicken dinner, a podium also there. Even for Team Aryan, eyebrows raised, because again, let's just talk about them being the recent official champions. Have they replicated that performance here in the MS? The answer is no.
Absolutely not. Failing to perform, it's definitely a bit of a concern from the side of Team Aryan. And this is another one of those teams that is not really trying to use any sort of bonus cards, instead trying to play it for the safety. And that is honestly a bit of a concern now, because Team Aryan, they're all the way far back in the overall standings, and now is the time to wake up and start taking advantage of the bonus cards. But you guys can spin and unlock the Nyx and Sinistra set starting at just 10 UC. Make sure to grab it as soon as possible. It's a limited time offer.
Yeah, of course. Because I've been trying to get my hands over that. I've been quite unlucky. I tried through Google Play Points. I was not lucky either once more. And eventually I just gave up. But you should not give up. So will the players of Mad Kings, because now they really need to rise back. We know these players have got it in them. And Ninju, this player in the very same arena in the previous MS, I remember he made so many iconic plays for Team Forever. Eventually, just to be left behind, just because his teammates could not show up. And guess who was I cheering? Who? That's for you to guess. Or maybe for the audience. The moments are quite vivid, because it was just last year. It was a circle round north of Yasnaya side. Ninja was just fragging left, right and center, and he gave it all. And that is where, you know, I kind of felt bad for this young lad, because it was his first major event, and he showed up, but still they could not make it to the grand finals. But yes, we have been talking about Clutch God. He's been making a lot of news, especially after he's opened up his own new org, and he's got all his brothers with him. So let's head on and find out what Clutch God has to say about his org and his players.
कहाँ गायब हो चुका है हमारा विंटेज क्लच गॉड, जो हमेशा ट्रॉफी के पास दिखता है? वो कहीं गुम सा गया है। क्या हुआ?
गुम तो गया हूँ, बट देखो अभी थोड़ी शांति चल रही है। बट अगर मैं जैसे ही ट्रॉफी के पास जाऊंगा, वो विंटेज लाला, MVP लाला, जो भी कह लो वो लाला आ जाएगा पक्का पक्का। और मुझे लगता है पर्सनली इस BGMS में तो मुझे खुद को, जो आपने पूछा क्रैड भाई, दिखाना है अपना विंटेज परफॉर्मेंस।
Clutch God, of course, having his own struggles inside of this BGMS Season 4, as we're seeing Mad Kings not being that consistent, but at least they've got a decent foundation set up, which they can bounce back off of.
Yeah, they will have to. What other options do they have right now? Because Clutch God, he's just announced his new roster, and they have to leave a mark here, right? At least in the MS, if not the podium, if not the trophy. They'll have to show up, build hopes up, give some fans some reason to support them. And we haven't seen so much out of Mad Kings yet. But again, having 4 games to play throughout the entire day, the first 2 games did not go their way, hoping that they recover. But all of that happens, folks, after this short little break.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
All right, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android. It will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back after that short break, and within a few moments, Sanhok will be booting up on the screen. And still the same concerns, still the same questions, they remain unanswered. Reckoning Esports all the way at the bottom, a team that we thought has so much potential, and probably in this BGMS Season 4, they should be there in the top 4. Well, they're not even close on the last page. And there are a few certain names that I would want to take, but they are still at the last page on the bottom. Performance lacking.
Yeah, I mean, I had a quick word with Dionysus and clearly wasn't pleased with how they were performing. So I was straight up blunt in asking him what's going on, and he was of the opinion that there were some differences and eventually they have been settled. From here onwards, he's given his word that we will see Reckoning bouncing back up and get those glorious days back once again, because I used to love those days of Reckoning where they used to hunt down squads left, right and center, and they would go on social media, create so much of that buzz. Now we just get to see that buzz, but nothing out of these players anymore.
Exactly. Performance still lacking from the players, and they need to start replying back as soon as possible. The times and the days are passing by, but the performance is still missing. But for now, we've got a quick video lined up for you guys, so let's move on towards that and check it out.
चेरी, एक स्टार स्टडेड लाइनअप जो आपने पहले लीड किए और अभी जो लाइनअप है जहां नए फेसेस हैं, क्या फर्क है इन्हें लीड करने में?
मेरे को तो ऐसा लगता है कि अगर मैं ये सोच के लीड कर रहा हूँ किसी टीम को कि इस टीम में स्टार्स है या फिर इस टीम में अंडरडॉग प्लेयर्स है, तो फिर तो मेरे को आईजेल करना छोड़ देना चाहिए, क्योंकि फिर मैं सेम पेज पे कभी भी आईजेल कर नहीं पाऊंगा। अगर मैं किसी भी प्लेयर को अपने से बड़ा मान के चल रहा हूँ या फिर ऐसा मान के चल रहा हूँ ये स्टार है, मैं इसको कुछ बोल नहीं सकता, तो फिर तो लाइनअप चल नहीं पाएगी कभी भी। तो मैं किसी भी लाइनअप में रहता हूँ सेम ही ट्रीट करता हूँ हर एक प्लेयर को, वो फर्क नहीं पड़ता मेरे को कितना भी बड़ा स्टार हो या फिर कोई भी अंडरडॉग हो। अगर कोई गलती करेगा तो मैं उसको वहाँ पे उसी तरह से सुनाऊंगा जैसे एक अंडरडॉग को सुनाता हूँ या फिर एक स्टार प्लेयर को सुनाता हूँ, तो इक्वल है, कुछ ऐसा डिफरेंस नहीं है।
I mean, Jelly pretty much saying that he does not really differentiate between the OGs and the newcomers. He will treat everyone pretty much the same. If you're a star player, it does not matter. He will treat you the same as well, because that's what really helps him IGL well, which makes a lot of sense too. You should never differentiate between your teammates.
It seems like there's been an update, right? There have been some errors which have been clarified. So once again, folks, it has been confirmed that iQOO 8-bit gets the bounty of Orangutan, and they get those added 10 points. So
wow.
Yes, we will have the updated leaderboard in just a wee while. So Somraj is going to be quite pleased with how they have been playing. But now coming back to what you were talking about, Jelly, yes, this was the very same arena last year where Jelly was leading Hero Extreme God. Like, he was replaced, he was benched, he was completely axed off, and just a year later, what a way to mark his comeback.
Yeah.
Has the highest amount of chicken dinners, has the most amount of podiums that they have reached. They are doing it all.
With a different team, the man's still the same IGL, but he's proven even better. Performance has been extremely good from the side of Jelly and the boys, and the entire banner actually. And he's been doing a perfect job in leading the pack as well. But let's move on towards the overall standings. These are the updated overall standings after the match 46. And now 8-bit, they have finally breached in the top 4. This is what we talk about, but now 8-bit in the upcoming game, they're going to have the bounty on top of their heads, which can either be a good thing or a bad thing. Let's see how they dodge that.
I really feel like it's a good thing for them, because S-Power, he loves all that limelight, doesn't he? Every single time he's got pressure on him, he thrives under that. So is the beauty. But how will the other players react, especially with 8-bit making those changes? You know, they've got Beast playing instead of Troy. Now, let's not forget, a couple of days ago, Troy was in the list of the most wicked players. And just to add cherry on top of the icing there, Beast is the impact player. So a rookie comes in out of nowhere, and he's been prioritized to be the impact player where they could have chosen S-Power. So Somraj out here is trying to make some strong statements, or maybe it just could be he's giving Beast also to soak in some pressure and also deliver for his squad.
Exactly, but now within a few moments, the upcoming game's going to boot up on the screen as the plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from down south from Bantai towards Houghton. This plane flight path extremely tilted towards the left side of the map. If the teams do want to move in towards the right, might just be a bit of a tough stretch, but since it's the map of Sanhok, it's not really going to create a lot of difference. We just are looking for a few more drop clashes this time around, right? There are definitely going to be drop clashes around Boot Camp and maybe around the Camp Alpha Island as well.
It's just a boot camp that I've got my eyes set at, right? The Mad Kings and Hero Extreme Godlike rivalry, I want to let it rip once more. Because now, look at this. Mad Kings, they're heading at boot camp. But where is Hero Extreme Godlike? Because
right next
they've got a bounty on their heads and they're right next to them. Our fight is
Reckoning
in the
too.
making and seems like Reckoning. They also want a piece of the pie.
Wow, interesting. Reckoning Esports is going to drop down around the warehouses right next to boot camp. So it's interesting. Let's see how Reckoning Esports is going to be playing this battle out. Reckoning is probably going to try to third-party that fight the moment it happens between Mad Kings and Hero Extreme Godlike. And it's already kicked off in a fiery note. First man drops down, and for Hero Extreme Godlike, it's a bad start as well. What can the gods do now? Yeah. Problematic start. Admino, the impact player, is not there in the game anymore.
Yeah, that's quite troubling, especially for Hero Extreme Godlike. But seems like Mad Kings will have a smirk on their face. Shadow is up against his former comrade, his former brother, Jonathan. Eyes will be on him as well. As for Mad Kings, they've got the first blow. They've got the danger man out. But now it's all about resetting, slowing the pace once again. Maybe try and isolate. And that is exactly what Shadow's doing. He's called for help. So you could see Apollo also closing it. With Hero Extreme Godlike, where's the support? Where's the cavalry?
Good question. Jonathan's all by himself, and remember, this is exactly what happened yesterday as well. Admino was trapped with the players of IG Los Hermanos. And once again, this happens to Johnny. But Jonathan, he's still striking back. He is only able to find one and instantly gets knocked out and traded off. Hero Extreme Godlike, a massive disconnect between the players, once again not providing that cover. And that is a concern. As I mentioned yesterday, it happened with Admino against IG Los Hermanos, but luckily enough, Admino was able to shut down the three players of IG Los Hermanos who pounced on top of him. But this time, Jonathan was not able to do the same.
Yeah, and that's quite disappointing from Hero Extreme Godlike, especially. Surely they had their times, but it feels like the indulgence of Reckoning really forced them not to commit there, right? The moment they would have actually come for help, that is where Reckoning could have also shot them. And let's not forget, Hero Extreme Godlike do not have the bounty on them anymore. As for Mad Kings, let's see if they can get the two remaining players. And they also need to be alert because threat hasn't been averted exactly. Because the moment they go after Hero Extreme Godlike, surely Reckoning is going to pounce on them.
Hero Extreme Godlike losing out on Admino and Jonathan. That's a massive firepower cutoff right there. Now Gods and Punk, the only two men left standing. Mad King's around the fray. There's also Reckoning Esports right next to him, so they need to be careful of that as well. But Reckoning Esports is not playing aggressive. Instead, they back away towards the hill, which is quite interesting as well. Reckoning Esports not playing it off to fight. Gods falls down, and Mad Kings, they're somehow able to convert this fight flawlessly. Just one more man standing for Hero Extreme Godlike, which is Punk. And I highly doubt this man's going to be able to create a lot of difference. Mad King's approaching Punk slowly, since they know he's the only man standing, and they've got a massive man advantage as well. And Punk, oh, he catches a massive haircut. It's chipped down extremely low. Oh no, he's also getting pushed on now, and he can't really do a lot given the circumstances. He's got a pump shotgun to work with. Does find the first knock. Mad King's in a bit of a trouble. Punk, before getting taken down himself, he was able to get one knock, but not the confirmation.
Let's not forget, all these finishes are accumulated in the power play. So, of course, double points there. They have to deliver, and Apollo being the impact player, him having those two finishes
12
just makes things so much better for Mad Kings. Yes, 12 points is what they have accrued from this very fight. But now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next, because Reckoning, they've grouped up their forces, and seems like Sam, him having that little bit of a flank angle, that is going to be massive. He needs to deliver that opening knock.
It indeed will be massive. Mad Kings, at this moment, they know Reckoning Esports is approaching them. And Mad Kings are now going to start to think what exactly can be done to try and dodge this bullet. But Mighty Los Hermanos, it's another one of those teams. The form's on a massive dip.
Yeah.
Mighty Los Hermanos, it's time to buckle up and once again start playing the exact same way you guys were playing in the week one. Missing out on that top four might just be a massive cost, but at least be there in the semifinals directly. Playing the playoffs is a massive gamble.
Oh, it's going to be interesting here. What's happening next? Already losing out on one of their younger blood spy. Is it going to help their case really? As Los Hermanos might be caught between a rock and a hard place. The moment they step out, could find themselves in troubled waters. You do have Reckoning still on the warehouses there. Right next to Bootcamp Evil. He's going to be the impact player. Likitha Esports, we've seen them. They've gotten our hopes up. They've got a lot to say. Smoker especially. The way he's been playing, even on the camera, with the mic, he's been good there. But for 8-bit, all right. Some warning shots for Phoenix Esports. Presence felt, but Beast, he's already secured that one finish. Him being the impact player, he's earned his team at least 4 points out of that. Can he get a little deeper there? As now 8-bit, suddenly 40R, they come out of nowhere and S-Power Magic completely taking over as it devours them all. But Morty and Z-God, they somehow bounce back. Beast will give the cover fire, and all that remains from 40R is going to be Z-God.
A massive nightmare from 40R. And this time, they themselves have been engulfed in that nightmare. 40R were completely clueless. They never thought that 8-bit might just be around this block. But what? Did Z-God just toss an 8 that eliminated the entirety of 8-bit? Is that what happened? And I guess that's what happened. That one single nade from Z-God was able to shut down 8-bit. Massive stuff. And 40R still somehow they swing. But back towards this fight, Reckoning Esports and Mad Kings. And this time, Reckoning Esports, they've already devoured the entirety of Mad Kings. Flock and Javin reaping the benefits and getting those elimination points to themselves. But Phoenix Esports, now they make a pounce on that one leftover players of 40R. And even Z-God gets eliminated.
I really want to check on 8-bit's bounty status, right? Just before this game, they had a bounty on their head, and considering the fact that 40R did eliminate them, was it enough? And Z-God, let's not forget, he was also the impact player for his team. Surely has made his presence felt, but for K9 Esports, they started off really well. The first game really went their way. The second game, they were caught in a very sticky situation, but now hoping to turn things around. They've got a little bit of that high ground to play with. All they gotta do is play their cards right.
K9 Esports, at this point in time, especially them finding such a spot, it's interesting. Phoenix Esports is right in front. They're trapped in those houses, but Phoenix is fine with that. They're inside of the circle. It's all good and dandy for Phoenix Esports. Escape route maybe not there, but the zone is on top of them, so it's all good in the hood. But for Global Esports, Adi's taken down, and Mane is taken down extremely low himself. The man's shipped up pretty low. Mane should be able to patch himself up, but getting the revival back on towards Adi might just be quite tough. The man's exposed and knocked out in the open.
Global Esports, an interesting fight. I had that Adi, the young gun. He's been taken down, like you said, but for Global Esports, the challenge is going to be enormous. True Rippers right in front of them, as even from the sidelines, it's going to be the players of Metal Esports making quick work out of these players, as True Rippers on the pounds. And now Kyolamau, can he capitalize? As we do have an update, 8-bit's bounty has been claimed. It goes to none other than Z-God, and I just want to see if he did get all the players, because if that has happened, he's going to get 26 points out of that fight.
Insane stuff. That would be absolutely insane. I mean, 4-Tower, they've already done the job. If they've claimed the bounty, that's a lot of points. And even if Z-God is not able to get all the 4 elimination points, that's still 18 points bare minimum. But we know he's almost able to get at least 2 or 3. Somewhere around that. He was at least able to get 2 or 3. Before now, True Rippers, they've lost out in 2. Luckily enough, iQOO, the revival's going to be there on top of the player. Hirsch is still quite healthy. And Hirsch is the impact player for True Rippers. But look at Victorious Sumus. They pop out from that ridge. And Victorious Sumus, they push up close and personal. And finding a crucial knock against iQOO. Hirsch is the only man left standing against the entirety of Victorious Sumus. And since Hirsch is the impact player, if he does manage to clutch it out, this will be insane. True Rippers, they can't really do a lot in this position. And in the end, Hirsch will drop down as well.
Yeah, Victorious Sumus being so proactive in the situation, really analyzed the threat well, but seems like they're not out of the woods because now from the far off silhouette, you could see Metal Esports closing in on them. As for my G, Los Hermanos, Evil got in a really sad spot here, all to his lonesome as he self-stuns himself. All right, still cannot wrap my heads around what he did over there as Cyrix. He's going to double down with a grenade and now finally decides to go for the pounce. Spots him out. It's going to be an easy peasy wipe as Los Hermanos. They bite the dust, but Victorious Sumus seems like they've got a lot of fight left as Metal Esports hellbent on the pounce. iQOO, he's finally given some playtime today, but to no avail. The impact player Venom, he's been dealt with. And now Metal's options certainly starting to get a little limited there.
Metal Esports not done with the fight yet. They've still got 3 more men standing. 2 in the front. And somehow, Victorious Sumus, they mess up big. Mafia's nade, it knocks out Thunder. A massive blunder. And Metal Esports might just have a second shot at life now. Look at that double peak. Beautiful stuff from the side of Metal Esports. Still, things can be capitalized better. Victorious Sumus with a massive question mark. And what a choke that was! Insane from the side of Metal Esports, but that one team knock, that costed them the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the table turner right there. But now let's focus on what K9 are up to. As they're after the players of Phoenix. Goten, he's got a little bit of a flank angle there. Jotin and Archit right next to each other. But Omega, he's trying to draw some attention out there. But for what is worth, what have we just witnessed? Victorious Sumus, after having such a great start in that one, really dropped the ball, didn't they?
Ninja Boy was knocked out a while ago, but the man's back upon his feet, so it's all good. K9 Esports, though, all the way from the far fray. It's Team Argon, and somehow precise enough, they actually do find the knock. Good stuff. Godin, isolated, spots out another man from K9 Esports. What was Slug doing? Was he taking a nap inside of the car? Oh no, the comfort getting to him. And Phoenix Esports now starting to hammer back once again. K9 puzzle. It's a massive one that is now being solved by the players of Phoenix Esports. K9, they're dropping down like flies, bodies after bodies, they keep on dropping. Justin, he's able to expose the last man of K9 Esports too, and within a few moments, the final man as well will be devoured as Phoenix Esports, they turn the tables against K9.
Yeah, it's combined efforts also coming in from the far fray team. AX also indulging in that particular fight, but Reckoning Esports, everything looking dandy for them. 5 finishes already in their bag, and you could see they have benched Viper today. Now, we have seen some major changes, but replacing one of your star players, and look at them, Reckoning, looking good so far.
Yeah, they're doing much better. Maybe something's wrong with Viper, not exactly sure what's going on there behind the scenes, but as long as they're able to squeeze in a good performance, that's all that matters, right? And that's what Reckoning Esports is doing, squeezing in a top-notch performance so far. Third-partying the fights perfectly, shutting down a team like Mad Kings, and now moving up and taking down Phoenix as well with that third party. Everything is calculated well. Likitha Esports, XOXO and Starboy, the final 2, glimmers of hope standing. The zone's going to center on up right on top of Paradise Resort, and this can be a bounce-back game for Genesis Esports. The moment we thought Genesis's lead is now starting to fade away, it seems like Genesis might just have a chicken dinner game now.
Yeah, I think that would be lovely, especially for Genesis, considering how their previous games have been, and this time having all their players intact and the circle favoring them. But eyes will also be on the likes of FS Esports, Necro. Let's be honest, FS Esports, they've been on such a downhill. They've been tumbling down, and this could be the perfect map where they get some flow back. Because for now, what it's worth, it is Genesis Esports' game to lose. But we have seen sometimes you get tunnel vision, you make those small errors, and everything falls apart.
And generally speaking, Paradise Resort is too massive. It's too big. You cannot really hold it down with just 4 players. It's impossible. There's too many breaching points. There's too many places where you can be abused from. There's too many places where a line of sight can be formed. So Paradise Resort is too massive to hold it down with just 4 players. It's next to impossible to do so. And Genesis Esports right now needs to do the impossible, which is to hold down the entirety of Paradise Resort. They've got a good split going on. You've got Yash looking towards that southern side. Then the remaining 3 players now looking down on the northern side. But Reckoning Esports, they straight up ram their vehicles around the Paradise Resort compound. But Reckoning Esports themselves are now getting absolutely dismantled. One man's down, Hunter's from the back. He's striking down pretty hard. Reckoning down to a 3-man squad. There's Chavin right in front. And Hunter's nade, it might just not be able to find that knock, but definitely suppresses him. But Chavin, he replies back pretty well. And this is what I was talking about. Holding down the entirety of Paradise Resort is impossible with just 4 players. And Genesis Esports getting abused from all the different angles.
Yeah, they have fallen prey to their own tactics, right? Especially the moment they overcommit, they overstep, they get punished. And none other than Chavin. I'm really curious to know where this kid has come from, because lately he's been ruffling a lot of feathers. Has made those impacts clearly visible for Reckoning. And even FS, they drop in on that fight. They capitalize. And suddenly Genesis, they look handicapped there. At this point, Hunter's still on his knees and seems like he's in no man's land. Clearly, revival there is not possible as Yash and Zap need to piece it out together. Yash, position spotted out. Zap, his position also compromised. It's all about Reckoning Esports making a call. But what I feel like the thoughts on their head, the moment they enter there, FS Esports might just devour them.
Hunters cannot be saved. Man's eliminated. FS Esports, yeah, there's just 2 men standing for FS Esports, so I'm pretty sure they're fighting a lot of demons in their own head. And I know they will not be playing the risky game at all. FS wants to squeeze in as many points as possible. At least try and survive till the late game, because FS Esports themselves have been on the struggling side of the spectrum. And this can be one of those games that can actually save FS Esports too. In the recent days, FS Esports, I'm pretty sure the amount of points they've got, it's barely hitting double digits.
Yeah, and that's been such a concerning reason for FS. Now, what a downhill run has it been for them. But you know what? If you want to watch from the POV of your beloved players, do check out Geo Hotstar. We've got those multicam POVs on. And maybe try to learn a thing or two. But now, coming back to this very situation, Metal Esports, they have been amazing so far. They have just 2 players remaining. And the right 2 players you would want, right? Altu, he's been given another chance since Scout OP is not playing today. So Altu needs to make an impression also. But Aimbot, he's been such a delight to witness, right?
Yep.
Lately, he's been clutching. And just a couple of days ago, it was this very game of Sanhok where Metal Esports got their first chicken dinner, all courtesy to Aimbot.
Yeah, 7 finishes from Metal Esports so far. This is some impressive stuff. Metal with 2 men, Altu and Aimbot in the back. And Reckoning Esports up north. Now moving around the players of Genesis Esports. You've got Likitha Esports on the bottom left. You've got Team Aryan all the way down south. The zone just panning right on top of Paradise Resort. It's perfect. Genesis Esports, this could have been their game only if they wouldn't have been too greedy to spread themselves out all over the place of Paradise Resort. It's impossible. With 4 players, it's next to impossible. You need 6 players minimum so that you can have the entirety of Paradise Resort on a lockdown.
Seems like you've done your maths. But I feel like even sometimes 6 is also too less, right? We've got so many nooks and crannies, but yeah, it's all about waiting for that next circle shift, right? And we know, we've seen those days where eventually the zone kind of comes out of Paradise Resort. That means Metal Esports, things might favor them, but cannot rule out that one lonely straggler from Team AX Irix still alive. And if Metal Esports do not watch their 6, could really fall prey. It was just a couple of days ago. I think it was yesterday or day before, where one of the players of Team AX did cause so much turbulence, eventually helped True Rippers securing that chicken dinner and had a lot of contributions, denied FS that chicken dinner in that very game of Sanhok. But for what it's worth, Likitha Esports, what are the odds that Likitha Esports walk away with the chicken dinner?
Yeah, well,
whatever the odds were, they have finally been thrown outside the window because now they are out.
Yep, the odds are none now. That's what we know. There's also Metal Esports around the block, playing from the edges, not really making a lot of moves on the board yet. Cyrex is the only one standing from Team Aryan. 2 men from Genesis Esports, the greed engulfing them. Reckoning Esports with 3 men. Reckoning is the only team with the most amount of men alive in the final few moments, and the zone centers on up right on top of Paradise Resort. This will be perfect. A Paradise Resort ending? I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it.
It's going to be lovely, if you ask me. It's a 2-on-2 situation. Metal Esports, they have the numbers. Same goes with FS Esports, down to the final 2. A 2-on-2-on-2-on-1. And Cyrex might call it a day, but now Altu, he goes up, bashing in, gets Levi, instantly turns him into fodder, gets finished off there. As now for Metal Esports, they've got their hopes up. As FS Esports, Roman, everything rests on his shoulders. We have seen the best performance out of him in that one game of Erangel. Did accrue 8 finishes to his name, but he's got to pull out a rabbit out of his magic hat if he wants to get this chicken.
Reckoning Esports, 3 men right next to each other. And that is the only team with 3 players, so they've got the man advantage default. The remaining teams. Even FS Esports a while ago, they had 2 players standing, but they lost out on 1 a while ago. So it's rough. FS Esports and Team Aryan with 1 individual player standing, and Metal Esports and Genesis Esports with 2 each. Stopping Reckoning Esports and the Storm will be a little bit tough for these individual players, but it's not impossible. If they're able to chip away a bit of that damage, Reckoning Esports is already being forced by the blue. And soon, Reckoning Esports will be forced to move out in the open, and that's when the teams can start to abuse them.
It's all about that waiting game, and seems like Reckoning, they're making a move. They have to be very careful as the 8th stage is finally on the verge of closing. And we're down to the final circle. This is it, right? This is where we find our victor. Aimbot still alive, still breathing. Altu, he's got a very nice angle. All he's got to do is thread the needle. He's got to hit his shots right. And who knows? They might walk away with the chicken dinner. Dionysus spotting out Roman. It's going to be Max who gets the end of it, as that marks the end for FS Esports. But Genesis open it up against Metal Esports as Altu. He gets devoured as Zap. He finishes off Cyrex, and now we are finally down to our last 3.
Reckoning Esports with 3 men standing. Once again, the only team with the man advantage. Metal Esports could have been the one to put the spanner in the works, but unfortunately for them, 1 man's knocked out. And look at Reckoning Esports. They're like a cleanup crew, moving in at the same time with the blue. The blue is definitely forcing the players at Reckoning Esports to constantly move out from the comfort zone. But Reckoning Esports, they thrive in the chaos, and they love it. The Howling Wolves able to find a lot of opportunity, and they're playing it perfectly well too. But Altu falls down from Metal. Massive concern. Metal Esports now with just Aimbot left standing, and Aimbot is able to thread the needle as he shuts down 2 men of Reckoning. And now the fight's taken down to Zap versus Dionysus, a 1v1 in the end. Reckoning Esports, they have almost done it, and all they need to do is to get the last one, and they do it as well. Reckoning Esports, they stand on their words. They said at the start of the day, today will be their day, and they make it happen.
Yeah, man of his words, knows how to walk the talk. Dionysus and the boys do it this time. Without a single doubt in their minds, they grab this chicken dinner. Talk about drama, talk about masala. Reckoning's got in with all that spice. And alright, somebody's impact player tag was just thrown away like that. They don't care as long as the chicken dinner is theirs.
Who's gonna care if you've got a lot of points and a chicken dinner to back it up? No one. And Reckoning Esports, this sort of a performance was missing for the past 2 weeks. And now we're finally seeing this explosive performance from the side of Reckoning Esports. Their first chicken dinner in the BGMS Season 4. And Reckoning Esports, they make it happen in style. And this is one of the hardest zones to play, by the way, if you really talk about it. The final few circumstances, it's one of those moments it's really tough to deal with. A 1v1 against Zap, a man in form, and still somehow he gets clutched out. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. You guys do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with the post-game stats.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the Wicked Ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
After a long time, Reckoning Esports is back with a bang, but let's not forget it's not just all about Reckoning Esports. Even 4TR was able to claim a massive bounty in that previous game and secure a lot of points to themselves. So I guess today's a massive day for the teams on the latter half.
So much happened in this very game of Sanhok, right?
Yeah.
We also saw Matt Kings taking down Hero Extreme Godlike once again. And yeah, the only sorry part was they did not have the bounty on them.
Exactly. But hey, once again, a massive shout out to Swiggy All Buns Blazing Burger with just 99 rupees. And that too, free delivery, by the way. That's probably one of the best things, right, Fixes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love buns. We all do love buns. And yeah, burgers, who does not like it?
Exactly. And just for 99 rupees, even better. So cheap. I mean, and that too, free delivery charges. I mean, of course, I will get my hands on it once again.
How many burgers are you going to order anyways?
We'll see about that. Let's not expose it on stream right now.
Make sure it's multi-grain, so it's fine, right? Healthy concerns.
Sure, buddy.
Whatever stands, whatever is stuffed inside that is pure protein, right? You could get chicken, you could get paneer, whatever you want, whatever rocks your boat. But yes, now coming back, finally, we get to see so much drama engulfing in that previous game of Sanhok, right? Where Reckoning, right from the very start, they were the opportunistic wolves, right? They were waiting for Matt Kings to take down Godlike. They went in, they got those finishes, then they went in very close to Paradise Resort, and the rest is history. But Genesis question marks around them because they had the entirety of Paradise Resort in lockdown. But seems like it was breached quite easily.
Yep. I told you it's impossible. You just can't do it with 4 players. You need minimum 6, and that's the only way you can have a proper coordination while holding down Paradise Resort. But as we move on towards the MVP of that previous game, it's going to be Aimbot with 4 finishes and 50% finish contribution. Aimbot, of course, contributing quite a bit to this entire team. As we move on towards the stars of the match, you will also see Aimbot once again with the best companion, and then you've got Dionysus right there being the finisher and clutching things out against Genesis Esports.
Yeah, I mean, I loved what Reckoning did there, right? Finally getting back to their groove. It's the beginning of maybe their comeback, because let's be honest, it was a game of Sanhok, right? They need to be consistent in the next couple of more games that they have to play. But when you take a look at the never settle moments, right, there's date confirmed Z-God. So eventually Som was knocked out. All he did was lob a grenade, landed in perfection. K9 though, question marks on them as well, because again, K9, they kind of looked a little distracted during those fights.
And once again, as I mentioned, right, I mean, things really started off in quite the fiery note. We did see aimbot as well in the final few moments, try his best to do as much damage as possible to Reckoning Esports, and he did the maximum damage, taking down 2 players, putting the players of Reckoning Esports in such a bad spot. Zap was able to confirm that 1 elimination point in the end, but Reckoning Esports, they pretty much claimed that chicken dinner. And of course, emotions oozing out in the end. Reckoning Esports really feeling themselves. The young man as well feeling himself with that chicken dinner. And this was the chicken dinner even the players of Reckoning Esports were waiting for since the start. One thing is for sure, today we're seeing a lot of fluctuations happen on the latter half of the board. A lot of teams are doing really good.
It's kind of the same storyline that we had in that first weekend also, right? So many teams from down bottom, they kind of were resurrecting themselves. The resurgence was quite visible. 31 points for Reckoning, 40R. Walk away with 20 to talk about a massive leap. Genesis ain't too shabby, 17 points. You're going to take that. But Medal Esports, those 30, they're also, that's something that you can live with, right?
I mean, for a 4TR, that's literally a chicken dinner worthy performance right there.
Yeah.
22 points from that one game, that's massive. 4TR is now on a different level of consistency. FS Esports, 6 points on the latter half of the board, still the concerns rise. FS Esports is another one of those teams that would really expect a massive performance from, and something's going wrong with that banner since the name is shifted to FS.
Yeah, I mean, for FS Esports, we really need to file some charge sheet. We need to get our officer Karki once again back and ask the players, what on earth is going wrong? Because you were just about to win the recent officials, then you could not qualify for the LAN in a recently held big third-party event, and now the performance, especially after you started off rock solid in the first week, the fire was there. What happened? Why has it vanished all of a sudden?
I mean, the second page, I mean, just look at it. On the leaderboard, the second page. Yes, there are a few known names as well, but there are so many newer names on the block over here. Now even 4TR Official has finally breached in on the second page. My G lost Hermanos right there too. NoNx as well on the second page. On the third page, though, this is where another concerning names do pop up. At least Reckoning Esports is on the rise, but for K9 Esports, they've only played the first 2 games. The performance was lacking. Mad Kings, yeah, they were able to win that first fight, but then instantly after that, they got absolutely rolled by Reckoning Esports.
Yeah, I mean, for Reckoning, they want... they were just being there, right? They were watching every single thing. They decided that they do not want to settle, just like... our title sponsors, OnePlus, they have been so amazing. They've been great. They've got great devices. Players have been playing on OnePlus 13. We have seen that. They are not settling at all. You could see all those clutchy plays being made. Everyone from that one very device.
Buttery smooth gameplay from that device, so I'd recommend you guys to check it out. And within a few moments, even the upcoming game or the last game is going to be beginning. And the fact that now the latter half is making so many noises, I'm pretty sure the mid-pack, it's now a little bit concerning. And it's also going to be extremely sensitive, because even Phoenix Esports has been doing really great. We are seeing Mad Kings too, yeah, a few moments from them as well, but especially 4TR, man, they have been remarkable.
Yeah, 4TR, they have been amazing, especially lately with how Pain is live, Iron of God, and even Z-God contributing up the ranks, because there were question marks when he was appointed as the impact player for his team, and he did his job pretty well, and yeah, he might look a little bit rusty, but given you've got the right teammates to back you up, I think you will be back in full form, because we know, I have personally witnessed the real wrath of Z-God back in his prime days, and all he needs to do is just get his heads back together and synergize with his squad, and their squad could really go the long way.
Of course, man. I mean, it's been a while since the man's played inside of a pro circuit, so it makes a lot of sense. It's going to take a while for the man to get back in the groove and to understand what exactly has changed over the years. And a lot of things have changed, let's be honest. We're now seeing much more advanced tactics being implemented, especially inside of the BGMS Season 4. Teams are much more aggressive compared to the other tournaments.
Yeah, they certainly are. And even in this one, we were expecting a lot out of True Rippers, weren't we? With them having such a good position, just dropped the ball eventually, could not engage in this fight. Maybe all of that changes in this one because, folks, it is the final game of the evening as we charter through the virtual world of Erangel as the flight path trajectory all the way from Yasnaya Polyana to Sosnovka military base. This is something that I'd take it. I like this.
Playing flat pad tilted a little bit on the bottom right side of the map. If the teams do want to move in towards George Pull, Zarki, shooting range, Severny, now that's going to be a bit of a tough stretch, including Gatka as well. It's going to be out of reach, which means we might just see a lot of pit stop collisions happen. And we all love the pit stop clashes, right? Teams dropping on towards a temporary compound, getting the loot up, or getting the basic loot, getting their hands on the vehicle, and then moving. But a lot of the teams do end up thinking the same way, do end up dropping on the same compound.
And now eyes will be fixated on any drop collisions we have. I really want to see another rivalry spring up once again. That has to be Global Esports and 4TR, right? They do have some scores to settle. I want to see what Morty has to say about it. Really get the players back on an interview and let them sort their differences. But for now, what it's worth, Phoenix Esports dropping down around Lipovka. K9, interestingly, dropping for the vehicles, and they would be heading off towards Severny. Maybe could find Hero Extreme Godlike in a little bit of a situation, but we've got a situation here. Reckoning, who just recently won our chicken dinner, now almost on the verge of getting exterminated, but Mad Kings, they decide to again swing back. It is going to be Apollo and Clutch God. They've got no weapons, but do they need any weapon? Because there you have it, Apollo just waiting for that perfect time to stab that dagger through the hearts of the players of Reckoning. What a clutch that was.
Third parties on the horizon, though. It's Genesis Esports who snuffed all the action. And Genesis, they're going to try to stop the players of Mad Gangs. Last man hit down from Genesis. Only if Genesis Esports would not have pulled the trigger and first eliminate the players who were knocked out, then maybe that could have been extra points, I guess.
Yeah, you're just being greedy, right? It's fine, right? Reckoning, I mean, for Genesis, they're pretty much at the tippity top. They have been maintaining that distance from the second position team, not really far away. On third, we do have 8-bit with 318. But for Genesis, I think they would be pretty pleased with whatever they got. So, 2 squads eliminated in the blink of an eye, just as the game began. But Circle looks quite interesting. Circle's gone way too much towards the western side. So we might get to see a Circle maybe around Gatka. There's possibilities around Hospital. But for what it is worth, we've got 8-bit and 4TR duking it out in Pochinki. 4TR lately have been quite mischievous, haven't they?
Yeah, they have been. They indeed have been. Not shying away from the fights and actually doing pretty good in those firefights as well. But Mad Kings, I'm happy for them. They get the revenge against Reckoning Esports. But the good thing is, Reckoning Esports were able to at least claim 3 of the elimination points in the power play as well. So even Reckoning Esports, they get 6 points off of that fight. Mad Kings get 8. I mean, it's a win-win situation for them, I guess.
I mean, for both of them,
yeah, it's a win-win.
It's a small victory. Let's be honest, because one is on 17th, the other's on 19th. Surely they would have been hoping to maybe breach past that 200 for Reckoning. And their matches for today have ended, right? They had 4 matches and they made the most of it. But for now, 8-bit, Beast being the impact player, certainly has to do something extraordinary. He's got some big responsibilities on his shoulder. Imagine his power not being given the impact player, and it's all down to this rookie young man, Beast. What does he make out of it? Tate spot out Z-Cod there. Surely did.
Keep this thing in mind, 8-bit. This is their home turf. Pochinki has been their home turf since the start. But as 4TR is challenging them, this is quite interesting. 4TR coming out on top. The odds are quite low, but let's be honest, 4TR, they have been handing out a lot of reality check to a lot of these known names. Global Esports, that's where it all started. And now maybe might just end on 8-bit. But 8-bit themselves, they're quite prepared. We are probably going to see a massive stalemate for the next couple of minutes. Everyone's going to try to play it as defensive as possible, make the opponents guess, and then when the push comes to shove, that's when we'll see them really hitting the pedal to the metal and going for the fight.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been a little bit of a standstill. Again, feels like a game of chess is going on. The opponent's really waiting for somebody to make a move there. Somraj, he's got a little bit of an angle. The big question is, has he gone unnoticed? By the looks of it, surely has. Equinox, he's trying to reposition himself. 4TR, they're kind of grouping up. And now 8-Bit might have a slight advantage, Necro.
They might. 4TR's really wanting to claim the bounty. And it all started from that previous game, the moment they tasted that bounty. They know how it can change the entirety of the overall standing for them. One bounty claimed, that's pretty much like one chicken dinner claimed. And 4TR has realized that. All they need to do is wipe out 8-Bit, and things will be good and dandy. But look at Phoenix Esports. Now they start to engulf the players of Genesis Esports as Hunters is all by himself in this compound. But luckily enough, the cavalry is quite quick. But Phoenix, they mess up. Archit gonna be knocked out as well, but the man's taken down extremely low, and Yesh has got his back. Phoenix, they've already messed up, and Hunters, he's getting bested. Justin's pushed up, and unfortunately, Justin at this point, he's found himself a bit of that cover, but Justin, he finds a beautiful knock with that nade. Hunters is down. Genesis Esports, there's still a massive chance they can actually lose out in this fight, but Zap, he connects another shot as Phoenix, they're down 3 players.
What is going on? Suddenly Phoenix did spring back up to life, but no, out of nowhere, Los Hermanos, they also come swinging through. Let's not forget Genesis, they've got a bounty on their head, and for that to be claimed, Phoenix need the rest of the players down, and now Jatin, he gets devoured, that one grenade, and Phoenix Esports are out of the game. But look at this, even the players of Genesis, they respond back as Zap, the lonely survivor, now up against Scarlett. Still breathing, it's going to be an interesting situation, but hold on, Global Esports, they come chiming in out of nowhere. Los Hermanos, they get dealt with, but Spray God still down on his knees. Carlin, before taking that exit, did manage to get a knock, but now Zap, his days are looking numbered in this one.
It's the area of death, straight up. That compound's cursed. So many teams have went in for a straight up slam on that compound. Third parties after third parties. Everyone wants to take the advantage of the power play and the bounty system as well. And Genesis Esports was on the verge of being hunted down too. Phoenix Esports almost got the best of him. But Justin was the only man standing and he could not really do a lot. But Metal Esports, they almost are on the verge of shutting down the entirety of Team Aryan. But there's also Likitha Esports around the fray. Smokers all the way in the back. And now the entirety of Likitha Esports, they're going to start to move up close and personal. Look at Turby! Oh, what is this heroic entrance? But the man instantly takes an exit. XOXO getting bested midair. Turby finding the crucial knock. And he's already started things off with a massive bang. Metal Esports. Turby, the only glimmer of hope, but he can't really do a lot. He's whiffing those shots. Needs a fresh magazine. He's loading up the barrel. But Turby gets taken down.
Yeah, a little unlucky there, and now everything rests on Venom. Their impact play surely has to do a lot. Does not have a lot of options. HP too low, but barring that, still manages to secure a finish, at least on Smoker. And who knows, he might clutch it out, but no. Clutch has been denied as Magic spews his magic, and now there you have it, Likitha Esports live to tell the tale as Metal Esports, they bow out of the server.
This is some insane stuff. So many third parties happening on the last game itself. I mean, look at this. It's just the stage 2 and already a lot of teams have been eliminated. That's 7 teams eliminated from the games already. But towards Puchinki, it's a completely different affair. 4TR, they kick things off against the players of 8-Bit. The first man's already down. The IGL's cut off from the pack. Beast, Equinox, and his power, the 3 players still remain. And soon the blue is going to be engulfing them as well. So this fight needs to be wrapped up quickly enough.
Yeah, it has to be. But now look at this. Global Esports, they continue on their winning run as Roman. He was a free finish there. What was he doing out in the open like that?
What was Roman doing, actually?
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
so exposed.
Of course.
And where are his teammates? That's another question. Did they forget how to play in a pro circuit? Because that's definitely a rookie mistake right there.
It certainly is, because it made no sense, right? For him to come out in the open. I mean, even if he was, who was on his ADS? F is completely looking torn apart. Things aren't looking good for them at all at this point, as they now do cut on their losses and move ahead. But talking about the circle, we do see the circle taking a western shift, and Victorious Sumus, they capitalize on it. They get that central position to their advantage, and Hero Extreme godlike. 3 matches, done and dusted, everything has gone down the drain, but one more chance, and they need to redeem themselves. But back to this fight, 4TR regrouping their numbers. In front of them lie 3 players of 8-bit Equinox, leading the charge. Beast on the sidelines, and S-Power there for the cleanup.
8-bit with no intentions of actually backing out from this fight. Everyone's adamant and stubborn. And 4TR's moving up because they know they've got the man advantage. They can afford a risky play like this. Pain's down though. And that's going to hurt the players of 4TR quite a bit now. Man advantage is now taken away from 4TR. And 8-bit, the fight's taken down to a 3v3. Has power. Nade needs to find the right knock. It needs to find the right connection and the precise spot. But Morty's already shifted. He's already moved away. Second nade tossed out from S-Power. It's not going to do anything, not going to find any sort of a knock or value. But 8-bit, these 3 players, they can definitely be the table turner. Shutting down a 4TR, it's not going to be that big of a task for a team like 8-bit. But recently, 4TR's been handing out a lot of reality checks, so you never know.
I mean, at this point, it's difficult to say, right? Because even Beast, after getting that confirmation, he has to reposition. But Seacott, he does muster up some courage there. Goes in really close to Equinox. And let's not forget, Seagod is his team's impact player. So every finish he gets doubled. And now, for what it's worth, they try to lure out Equinox. That sticky bomb, not enough to dish out any substantial damage there.
Risky
play. Just kind of trying to make those risky plays, those maneuvers around. Maybe a stun grenade dropped out. Finally goes in, goes in for that prone spray. Completely outplaying Equinox in that one. And that is the Z-God that we know and love. Delivers for his team as 8-bit on the verge of giving their bounty away.
Oh my god, confidence oozing out from the boys. And they're actually playing this so well as well. Beast is taken down extremely low. He's only got 1 first aid. He wants some time to patch himself up, and maybe now it's going to be that time. Beast popping that first aid. 8-bit's bounty is on the verge of being claimed by the players of 4TR, and this can be a lot of points instantly. Beast did find 1 knock, but it's not going to be the difference maker. Z-God with 2 finishes. Once again, that's 22 points right there.
It's not the power play, though. It's not the power play.
It's not the power play.
Yeah, they're going to get those 10 points for bounty for sure. And there will be that confirmation because Z-God got an early finish. Maybe I think it was on Somraj earlier on. And then that Equinox, that was an absolute beautiful one. Reminded
it was still not a power play when he got the elimination on Somraj.
Yeah, I mean,
it was not power play. So Z-God got those 4 elimination points.
Yeah.
And 4 plus 2 is 6. So that's 16 points right there from 4TR. Which is not bad at all.
Yeah,
of course. It's really good. A lot of teams end up getting 16 points with a chicken dinner, so that's really good. And 4TR, they're still 3-man strong, by the way. And since we know there's not a lot of teams surviving in the game at this time, for 4TR to squeeze inside of the circle, finding a good spot is not going to be difficult. They can actually go for a chicken dinner delivering run.
Yeah, of course they can. And I would love to witness that. Imagine 4TR. And, you know, this is one of those teams, right? A lot of people do not take them seriously, but given every single opportunity, just recently, if you talk about their achievements, they've been making it into the official LAN events, even in the events where they haven't qualified, but they still leave an impression. So that all being put into account, and especially when they had to take a big gamble getting in Z-God, somebody who's making a comeback into the pro circuit after a long time. Z-God, he's also been living up to his name. Really impressed with him.
Exactly. The man's pretty much filling his own shoes. That's a good thing. He's not a backpack to anyone else. He's getting the contribution. He's getting the elimination points to his teammates. He's doing good. He's got the confidence as well, and that's really good to see. But look at that spray from Iron of God. With just a red dot, he was able to find a few connections. Of course, that chip damage is going to be enough to suppress anyone. 4TR's presence is now noticed. Victor Sumus has been playing this game extremely passive. K9 knows there's a chance they can actually squeeze in a chicken themselves. A lot of these teams are booking it on the chicken dinner possibility. And 4TR is also one of them, next to True Rippers and Global Esports.
No,
but only one can get it.
Honestly speaking, Necro, I really want K9 to get this one, don't we?
I want 4TR to get it.
All right, for 4TR and K9, let's be supportive. Whoever gets it will be happy for them. I mean,
maybe not Victor Sumus, but I really do want anyone else to get it now. Victor Sumus, they've already got a lot of chicken dinners. I mean, their whole playstyle is about playing passive and aiming for the chicken dinners. So, Victor Sumus, yeah, they're kind of like a usual suspect to get that chicken dinner. But I really do want to see 4TR get it.
It's all about that clinical game of BGMI, which Victor Sumus, the likes of Meta NINZAs, even for Team AX, they put on the table, right? And kind of understandable why Victor Sumus is really not going all out. Maybe they just do not want to lose the flow on that one. But again, you know, in this particular game, somewhere down the line, I really want my Notorious boys back. I want K9 to get a chicken dinner. I mean, you love them more than me.
I do love them, yes, but recently it feels like they've lost their spark.
Would you not want them to regain it, though?
I would love for
and
them
that's
to
how they
regain
get a
it.
chicken dinner, and maybe the
Well,
confidence are
no,
up.
the spark can be regained by being aggressive. That's what I think. By getting a chicken dinner by playing it passive, I think K9 Esports will get the idea of playing it passive every single game.
Oh my God.
And they would just try to aim for the chicken dinner every single game.
You're such a needy man there. So difficult to really please you out. So, yeah, ladies, you're going to have to try a little harder if you intend on going after Necro. But now, coming back to stuff at hand, we've got, well, K9 still hunkered around in the center. They've got a nice split to play around. Hospital has been occupied by Slug and Beast, and the nearby compounds have been taken over by Ninja Boy and Omega. So it's going to be an interesting one at that. But Global Esports, let's also not root them out, because we know that they come out of nowhere, they snap some nice finishes. Who knows? They also might walk off with a chicken.
And you know what the crazy part is? Hero Extreme Godlike started the day off in the top 4, if I'm not wrong. And now look at them on the 7th spot. They've dropped down so hard.
And they had
It's
4
not
matches.
their fault, though. It's not their fault, though, right? The overall standings are now getting even more sensitive. That's the thing. We talked about the team on the top having a massive cushion, but that cushion has already faded away. There's no cushion to work with.
I also feel like Hero Extreme Godlike can get a chicken dinner in this one, because
of course,
when you look at their position, they have completely isolated the northern angle. So their backs are cleared. All they've got to do is just hope for the other teams to fight it out and maybe get into that sync with each other once again. But for now, Global Esports, they've been trying to cause some ruckus here and there. The position that has been snuffed out, K9, courtesy to Slug and Beast occupying Hospital. They've got some nice aerial advantage as True Rippers slowly inching in a little closer. Will have to settle in with the compound that's vacant right now, as Hydro has taken that position for himself. But now for Hero Extreme Godlike, they need to breach in. They need to get into the circle, and they've got the players of Likitha Esports to deal with. And Starboy opens up, taking down Punk already. But there you go. Admino and Jonathan just grouping up, getting those cleanups there. As Hero Extreme Godlike, they survive this threat of Likitha Esports. But is it going to be enough to weather the storm and get the chicken dinner?
Quick and clean wipe. This seems quite a methodical gameplay from the side of Hero Extreme Godlike. A passive, calm, cool, collected gameplay. Godlike aiming for the chicken dinner. And I guess all these teams, they realize that the lobby's getting finished up pretty fast. So there's no point in contributing to the chaos. Instead, let's just play it passive. 4TR, fortunately enough, able to claim the bounty, but they've only got 2 men standing now. And if they're able to squeeze in a few placement points, well, that's going to be the cherry on top of the cake, even better. And they've actually found quite a decent compound to play with, too, towards that southern side. If the zone does move down south, 4TR for them, it will be Date with Destiny. K9 Esports, they've got unlocked in the sights. Beast, the man's prone. K9 a while ago, they had a massive split. 2 players were all the way back towards the warehouses. Now 2 players were towards Hospital. But at this moment, all the 4 players are now on Hospital, and they've got it on lockdown.
Loki, I'm not going to lie. You know, it also could feel like True Rippers might walk away with the chicken dinner.
And this could be quite poetic if they have to take down Hero Extreme Godlike for that. Because, yeah, Jelly, he's got a lot of scores to settle. And what better way, a final circle against his former teammates and get them out and get a chicken dinner. A personal victory nonetheless, but Godlike, they've got bigger matters to deal with. They've got K9 completely taking over that hospital region as Beast. He's going to spray it on Admino, barely missing by those whiskers. As Admino brought down too low, but suddenly Hero Extreme Godlike, all of a sudden they have got their hands full.
Lock in your prediction. I think the zone's going to move down south. What do you think?
I also feel like it might go on 4TR.
Yep, that's what I think.
Or maybe G. A little bit towards the eastern side.
Yeah, maybe. It can actually be on the bottom right. It can't shift around that vicinity. Southeastern zone? Would love to see it. Hero Extreme Godlike a little bit exposed. Of course, the back is. And Admino, the impact player, getting knocked out.
Oh my god.
It's crazy, right? Since Admino is the impact player, somehow the man's not able to perform.
Yeah, and he was just picked off just like that. Even Punk, he's getting taken down. Thunder, he gets the finish secured for Admino. And now Jonathan, does he go for the revive or tries to buy enough time for Godzi to do the deed? But for now, K9, they look ferocious in this one. Punk, he gets completed. He gets finished off. Beast, he's going to be the harbinger of death. And now Hero Extreme Godlike, the numbers are quite limited. Gods also gets devoured. And now everything rests on Jonathan.
The zone's going to center on up. Everyone needs to moving now. Jonathan, the only glimmer of hope standing. And at this moment, there's Thunder right in front of him. And Thunder's got no clue that Jonathan lies right in that smoke. Shrouded in it. True Rippers. For them, the problems continue. Jonathan's able to find a beautiful knock onto Thunder. And that's going to be the confirmation too. Massive play from Jonathan. A threat neutralized. But for Jonathan, the real threat's going to be to make it inside of the zone. And that's where the real problem lies. How does Jonathan traverse through the open ground? That's the main question. Victorious Sumus, they've already made the pounce on top of that one individual player. And Hero Extreme Godlike with no chance to survive this one. It seems impossible. Jonathan's busy taking a fight. The man ejects outside of from the hovercraft. And that's going to be the nail in the coffin.
And look who got the finish there. It was K9's Beast.
Wow.
Now that is really making things quite interesting as Cheyenne down on his knees. But K9 seemed to have taken over this game as the reads were perfect from the humble IGL Omega. As Victorious Sumus, Cheyenne back on his feet. Mafia trying to address the situation there. Maybe go out and gather some information in that hovercraft. And now he eventually comes back to his loading station. Will patch himself up as we just have 5 teams alive. True Rippers, they've got no threats, at least for now. Because K9, they've got their entire vision and their dire attention on the players of Victorious Sumus.
Victorious Sumus, Mafia. Aims down against the players of 4TR. It's not a good position to play from, but at least it is something. And it's also inside of the zone, so that's a good thing. Cheyenne on the side. The man cannot really make a straight dash as well because there's K9 Esports camping down the hospital. And K9's got a massive grip as well, so unfolding that grip's going to be tough. Global Esports, still this team is alive, and there's a massive chance Global Esports can actually be the one to snatch the game away. Global Esports actually has a solid hold, while teams like True Rippers, K9 Esports, there's a big chance they might just be in a chokehold later on.
They certainly can be. It's all a waiting game in this one. And we are waiting for that 7th circle to walk up. For now, Slug trying to trace down the players of True Rippers, but nothing so far as Global Esports press on matters against 4TR. Zcod, he's been dealt with as Slug still eyeing in out for that one lurking out player, but no, that's not going to happen as True Rippers this time. They change the tune as Jelly gets knocked onto with Spray God, and now those grenade barraging through as Hydro, he musters up all that courage there, being the impact player for his team. Through the smoke, he goes in, but Mania, the impact player for GE, he responds back eventually just to be taken down by Harsh. And as it is, a mad dash going on, 2 teams fighting it out, and look at what's happening. K9 out of nowhere, and Slug, he's got a lot to say about that.
True Rippers made the right call, but the fight should have been wrapped up way earlier. But K9 Esports, realizing the fact that the fight's not wrapped up yet, a lot of damage is being dished out on both the sides. K9, they move up to take the advantage off that same fray. K9 from the back is constantly hammering down the players of True Rippers, as they've already lost out on one man from the hands of K9 Esports. Global Esports in the front, now they're getting pounced on, and they realize it's time to pull out the shotguns. Spray God! He's able to shut down the last man as well next to his teammate. Global Esports, they still survive to see another day. There's one man knocked out, which is Adi. The revival should be stuck soon.
There has to be. They do not have a lot of time on them. As K9 also getting their own revivals up there as for the players of 4TR. As they get hunted down. INF God.
Oh my God.
He barely had it, but Mafia. This beautiful play. He's been clutching out left, right, and center.
That was so close. One single pellet not connecting, and that's why the man was surviving on 1 HP. But hold on. Global Esports, they've already been pounced on by K9. And this might just be the end for Global Esports and their dreams in this game. Puggy to try and run the man over. The final man, the final string of Global Esports. That's keeping them alive in the game. And Spraykod.
Wow.
He gets stroked by Ninja Boy. What a way to convert that elimination point in style. Remaining two men are of Victorious Sumus. All that passive gameplay to get the second spot.
And this is exactly what K9 Esports needed, right? The wins back in their sails. In it. As of now, Victorious Sumus still quite satisfied with how the outing has been, and with Mafia still alive. Being Victorious Sumus, you would have your hopes high. We have seen him make some impossible clutches possible. He's done. He is the inevitable. And if you want to have your chips, it has to be on this man. But K9, they are relentless foes. They never give up. And just to make the matters worse, they've got all four men alive.
Mafia, at least able to contribute that one elimination point of Victorious Sumus. That's like, what, 5 points so far from the side of Victorious Sumus in this game? Or 6?
Maybe a couple more. We'll get to that. But for now, silence has taken over. Omega just making sure he gets as much pathways built up with that smoke gun that he has. But suddenly the smokes dissipate. The timing's gone wrong, but yeah, Omega does have a couple of smoke grenades handy. But the good thing is, look at how Beast and Slug are watching from the higher grounds, right? And even Ninja Boy, he's also positioned there. It's all about Victorious Sumus trying to get inside the zone, and maybe they might have their hopes high. Mafia takes down Omega. Still a 2-1-3 situation. But Victorious Sumus needs to find some answer on how they intend on getting inside the zone.
It's going to be impossible. It is K9's game. Let's be honest. Victorious Sumus will be living and breathing in K9's world soon. Mafia, he's somehow making it, but what? He rams his vehicle on that rock and he gets knocked out. It's unfortunate. The last man of Victorious Sumus, even he gets dealt with. That's 5 points when it comes to elimination from the side of Victorious Sumus. And they also claim 6 placement points, so that's 11 points for Victorious Sumus. But K9 Esports, after a lot of struggles, they claim another chicken dinner. Yes, the players are happy, but generally speaking, K9 Esports, this is not their peak potential. We expect a lot more. Getting the chicken dinner in this game was much more easier compared to all the other games that we've seen, because majority of the teams were eliminated off the rip.
You know, you need to cut them some slack, man. They finally, after so long, they get a chicken dinner. They've got smiles on their faces. Just a couple of days ago, we interviewed Slug, who is a notorious man. And even smiles had been taken away. He was such a gloomy one. He's like, I'm struggling, I'm not feeling myself, I'm choking. But it seems like all of that has gone. He's got a nice hairdo. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, but really a big fan of his gameplay in this one. At least K9 having everything sorted, but really impressed and happy with how 4TR really played in this one.
Exactly, 4TR once again claiming the bounty, getting a decent bit of points for themselves. Before now, let's move on to the stage for a quick little interview with K9 Esports.
तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट नॉटविन गेमिंग अरीना में एक चिकन डिनर के लिए सारी टीमों ने तालियां बजाई हैं। वाई तुम लोग अपना मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव भूल गए, तुम्हें चिकन डिनर नहीं निकालना था भाई, तुम लोग भूल गए।
कोई बात नहीं, अब ठीक है, आ गया आप चिकन डिनर नहीं लेते तो देखने नहीं मिलती आपको, कई फाइनल सेमीफाइनल्स में K9 बाहर हो जाते, तो इससे अच्छा चिकन लेके आप क्वालिफाई करते हैं टॉप 12 के लिए जल्दी से, एंड फिर देखते हैं आगे क्या रहता है। बाकी बहुत मजा आया इस गेम में, वो काफी प्रेशर में थे हम लोग।
Listen, I was just kidding. ये पूरा मतलब मैं तर्क में बोल रहा था, बिकॉज यू डिजर्व द चिकन डिनर, जिस तरीके से आप लोग खेले हैं। इज गोइंग बैक टू अ कॉन्वर्सेशन, आई थिंक असलग हमारी पीछे एक कॉन्वर्सेशन हुई थी, वो सबने देखी भी थी। यू आर नॉट लुकिंग एट द टॉप 4, आप टॉप 4 का हिस्सा नहीं बनना चाहते, यू वांट टू क्वालिफाई बिटवीन पोजीशंस 5 and 12। उसके पीछे एक सोच है, एक स्ट्रैटेजी है, टेल अस अबाउट इट।
नहीं, ऐसा कोई सोच या स्ट्रेटेजी नहीं है, बस अपना ऑरा प्लस करने के लिए बोलता रहता हूँ ये सब। टॉप 4 हो जाएगा तो भी कोई ना, बट ठीक है, हमारा भी जैसा हम लोग खेल रहे, टॉप 4 या टॉप 12 भी नहीं करेंगे हम लोग, ऐसा लग रहा है। बट अब ठीक है, थोड़ा मोमेंटम बिल्ट हो गया तो कोई बात नहीं, अब देखते हैं क्या होता है।
इस अरीना के बाहर जब आप ट्रैवल कर रहे होते हैं, आप होटल में होते हैं, तो ओमेगा के साथ क्या बात चल रही होती है?
बात नहीं, वो हमें सुना रहे होते हैं कि कुछ तो करो भाइयों, कुछ तो करो। क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं 3 असोल्टर लेके, तो अब धीरे धीरे अब उनका वही कर रहे, मतलब वही जो है उनकी दिल की इच्छा हम पूरी कर रहे हैं। बाकी हमारा वही है मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव कि अच्छा खेले एंड टॉप 12 जल्दी से जल्दी हम लोग क्वालिफाई करें, बाकी देखते क्या होता है।
And that's the goal, qualifying in the top 12.
हाँ, टॉप 12 क्वालिफाई करना अभी गोल है। प्लेऑफ्स में जब जाएंगे तो काफ़ी तहस महस हो सकता है कुछ भी, तो मैं चाहता नहीं हम प्लेऑफ्स में खेलें। बाकी रिस्क वगैरह चलता रहता है, वो है ना, नो रिस्क नो ग्लोरी, नो फेलियर नो स्टोरी।
नो पेन नो गेन। स्लग, अपना ऑरा जो है उसे बरकरार रखना। गुड टू ऑलवेज टॉक टू यू। K9 पिकिंग अप अ चिकन डिनर एट लास्ट। लेंगे एक ब्रेक और मिलेंगे आपको उसके बाद।
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
K9 Esports finally getting their chicken dinner after such a long time. And yes, the players were extremely happy as well. At the end of the day, it was a hard-fought chicken dinner too. But let's be honest, a lot of the major fights did happen off the rip. We saw so many third parties happening. And we also did see a bit of that revenge fight off the rip.
Yeah, we certainly did. And, I was kind of almost happy as that was happening because I wanted to be hydrated. I did not want to feel parched. And for that, I do have my hydration partner, which is also your hydration partner. That is going to be Bisleri, just always ensuring that even when we have those long stretches of commentating, we feel energized.
Exactly. Sometimes our throat does get dry, so Bisleri, definitely thank you to them for hooking up with this. And also, we are having some fun time with the players of K9 Esports as well.
That's what's missing. Team synergy is missing. One is flexing his muscles, others are saluting for K9. Yeah, we know where's the problem now.
I mean, Slug was talking about this in the interview as well. Omega, whenever they go back to the hotel room, he's pretty much not happy with the team's performance. And every single time he says, I've got 3 assaulters with me. What's the reason of having them if they're not able to perform?
Finally, I'm happy that he got a few filters on because, that's not what Slug really is. Because if you talk to him outside of the camera, you would get different versions of what Omega tells you.
Oh, we've all seen a lot of clips of that.
We've all seen all of that. But stars of the match, Slug, 4 finishes, amazing. Adi, I really want to know more about this young man. Because imagine you're filling in the shoes of the likes of Crore, who's been such an impactful player for your team and still holding on to himself. That's commendable.
The man hops in for the first time and still performs so well, and he's actually doing a really good job making sure that Global Esports is getting those podium finishes in the games as well. I mean, Global Esports started the day off with a massive chicken dinner, right?
Yeah.
They were looking so good for themselves, and then later on, as we moved on, we also did see Reckoning Esports grab a massive chicken dinner. And overall, today's day has all about being the teams on the last page. They've been doing extremely good today.
Yeah, I think it was all about that resurgence that all these teams had to make, the ones that's struggling. So we finally get to see Reckoning get back to their old glory days. We also saw K9 get their chicken dinner. We did see so much masala happening today. There were so many lovely moments, especially 4TR again being the kryptonite for GE. And this time, however, was a different case because this particular game, K9 absolutely just took over, right?
Yeah, K9 Esports in the end, they also had the zone control, and unfortunately for the players of Victoria Sumus, they could not even do anything since they needed a breach inside of the zone. One of the men got knocked out since he rammed the vehicles, and that damage was a bit too much. His HP was too less. And yeah, K9 Esports, of course, extremely pumped up after getting that chicken dinner. And as we know, after a long time, K9 Esports have gotten that 24 points from them. 4TR!
Yeah.
21 points? That is impressive. That's pretty much a chicken dinner worthy performance. Once again, the previous game they got 22, this game they got 21.
And now they could really propel themselves up the standings. I'm interested to know where they're sitting at.
Yeah.
It feels like they might have entered the top 8, maybe. Maybe we're going to find that one out. But True Rippers, a decent game. I mean, that's a True Rippers game, prioritizing circle. They kind of failed in those fights. But for Hero Extreme Godlike, I think this was the best game they had so far. 6 points out of the 4 games that they played, and this has to be the highest. So, not a great day for Hero Extreme Godlike. Will still climb up the ladder, will be at the 5th position. But 8-Bit, they have been making quite some big climbs there. Today, you could see, right, inside the top 4, feeling themselves. iQOO Soul did not have the best of outing either.
Yeah, unfortunately for 8-Bit, got picked off the rip in that last game, since their bounty was claimed by the players of 4TR, and even OG's currently on the 4th. You've got Hero Extreme Godlike after that last game, just making a small leap, which is not really that remarkable. God's Reign, they are pretty much around that same pack once again. But as you flip the page, you will see K9 Esports now do pretty good in that spot. And look at 4TR. Oh, that's a massive lead. Back-to-back massive games from 4TR, and that's helped them put up themselves in the top 12.
Yeah, this is lovely stuff that we got to witness, at least from 4TR and K9. 4TR understanding the gravity of the situation. They finally needed to wake up. They did. But disappointment continues, especially with FS Esports, Likitha Esports. I mean, they did have their better days, and I'm pretty sure they've seen days better than how they've played today. Marcus Gaming, even after having a nice one game, they really could not maintain their footing in terms of the overall standings.
So overall, today's day was all about 4TR, K9 Esports, and Reckoning Esports. That's what I personally think.
And G also.
Yeah, maybe G as well, since
huh?
they got the chicken dinner in the first game. But G is already someone that's got a decent foundation set up. But it's all about Reckoning Esports and how they perform well. They got the chicken dinner on the map of Sanhok. On the last game, they got 8 points. I believe that's still a consistent finish for Reckoning Esports. They've still got the win of the sale. But we have got the most wicked players on the screen. Admino's still at the top with 62 finishes in 32 matches. You've got TraceGod with 61, Hunters with 61 as well. 2 ties right there. AKOP not too far back with 59.
Yeah, and as you move ahead, you watch Justin. We do not see any new faces coming in. Maybe Spraycord and Aimbot have made their entry back in. Jonathan just one finish shy from getting that 50. Kyolama, he's been amazing so far. He's been firing on all cylinders. Aimbot has been doing aimbot things. Termi has been playing really well.
Exactly, but let's be honest, right? Now that's a wicked upgrade right there. The TVS Radar IGO brings segments first. GTT digital cluster with 85 plus connected features, best-in-class torque, and now 9 crazy colors. I'd recommend you guys to check out this TVS Radar. And of course, Justin, he looks quite fire on that bike.
He certainly is. It feels like that particular color was just made for Justin, especially the jersey he's donning, and that was lovely. But you know, so far it was a great day, and during those weekends we do witness the appraisals of the teams lurking around the bottom, and that has happened. Global Esports make their way back into the top 8. Medal Esports, they've been on the climb. We did see Reckoning get a chicken dinner today, K9 also getting a chicken dinner, and 4TR being the absolute bounty hunters. How many bounties did they claim? 2, right?
2.
Yeah, that's amazing. Still amazing.
One in Sanhok and one in the last match. That's what we saw from the side of 4TR. But as I've been mentioning over and over again, today's day was all about the teams on the last page. They did extremely good. All the struggling names are now once again starting to make a bounce back. Even Phoenix Esports, they had a few good moments to themselves. Actually, let's be honest, right? The map of Miramar, Phoenix Esports was doing pretty good. And I like the fact that now, as days keep on passing by, Phoenix Esports' confidence as well is amping up. They're going for the fights against the big teams.
Yeah, I mean, that is there for sure. As we take a look, we do have the Swiggy 99 finishes, and look at the total number of finishes that have already happened. 2871 and 2999 finishes. Lovely, lovely stats.
Insane. But once again, make sure you guys are scanning that QR code for an exclusive 99 rupees off coupon on Swiggy, which is only for a limited time. So make sure you guys are doing that as soon as possible. I mean, I've already scanned it right now, so I'm definitely getting 99 rupees off.
That should be illegal, no?
Why? Hey, I'm a human being as well. I like to eat. Hello?
Yeah, but you're being paid enough. This is for our viewers, Necro. Stop being so greedy, man.
Come on. It's fine, you know. It's okay. The QR code's for everyone. Everyone can claim it. It's not. There's not specifically written that not for commentators, so I'm going to take the advantage of that. But the max finishes popping up on the screen. Admito still at the top with 62 finishes. TraceGod right underneath him. You've also got Hunters right there with 61. Pretty much the same as the Wicked players.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much similar there. But yes, the build-up is there. TraceGod just breathing under Admino's nose. Admino being the impact player did not have a great day round, so excited for tomorrow.
Generally speaking, will 4TR be able to continue the same dominating run tomorrow as well? That's a major question that's popping up in my mind. And honestly, we'll be able to find that out tomorrow itself. But for now, that's going to be it from me, Necro and Fixes. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another day of BGMI.